Chapter 2094. Zhuang Lingyu had planned to take this opportunity to seek justice for Ning Shiluo and then completely remove Ning Shi from the family. That was why she called so many relatives here. However, she didn't expect that the truth of the matter would make her fall apart. Now that things had become like this, those relatives and friends couldn't continue to stay here and watch the drama. They all found excuses to leave. Mr. Su was physically and mentally exhausted. He didn't want to care about his eldest son's grudge anymore. He walked away shakily with the help of his servants. Back then, he had already advised them and said all that he needed to say. All the choices were made by themselves. Now, however they wanted to resolve it, he just let them be. He really didn't have the energy to care about it anymore. For a moment, only Ning Yaohua, Zhuang Lingyu, Zheng Minjun, Su Hongguang, Su Yan, and Ning Shuo were left in the ward. Zheng Minjun couldn't bear the fact that the son she was most proud of was cuckolded. The precious grandson she had been looking forward to turn out to be a bastard. After those people left, she didn't care anymore. She pointed at Ning Shiluo's nose and began to scold her. Our Su family is blind. How could we let Su Yan marry a fake bitch like you? I don't know which man you slept with outside. How dare you say you are Su Yan's? Divorce. Get out of the Su family now. And don't even think about taking away a needle or a thread of our Su family. Ning Shiluo couldn't help laughing. Haha, do you really think Ning Shi is so pure? She was knocked up by a man at the age of 18, and she said she is Su Yan's son. I'm much better than her. If Zheng Minjun hadn't been trying to persuade Su Yan to marry another woman after knowing the relationship between Ningxi and the Zhuang family at Mrs. Li's party, she wouldn't have slept with those disgusting fat rich businessmen in order to get investments and stabilize her position. If Su Yan hadn't been seduced by that bitch and didn't want to have a child with her, she wouldn't have taken the risk of keeping the bastard in her belly. It was all that bitch's fault. It was the Su family's fault. Zheng Minjun was stunned when she heard what Ning Shiluo said. What did you say? I say, Ning Shi, that bitch fooled around with 2 male prostitutes when she was still with Su Yan. When she got pregnant, she said he was Su Yan's son. If it weren't for that car accident, she would have given birth to this bastard. After saying that, he looked in the direction of Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu with a face full of mockery, his face full of satisfaction from revenge. Ha ha! You don't believe me? If you don't believe me, you can ask Chairman Ning or Madam Ning. Aren't their own daughters even more shameless, slutty, and slutty? Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu's faces turned pale when Ning Shuo revealed the Ning family's biggest scandal in front of the Su family. Back then, they had erased all traces of this incident, but they could not erase its existence. This matter was like a nightmare to them. At this moment, a man's trembling voice suddenly came from the corner of the ward. Enough! The smile on Ning Shiluo's face froze when she heard the voice. It's not Xiaoxi. What happened back then was not Xiaoxi's fault at all. Su Yan clenched his fists, his face full of embarrassment, and said with difficulty, Xiaoxi never betrayed me. She never fooled around with a man. She didn't. She was forced. She was framed. Chapter 2095. What did you say? Zhuang Lingyu, who had been in a trance, suddenly froze. Ning Yaohua's face also changed. Su Yan, what did you just say? Xiaoxi was set up? Ning Shiluo stared at Su Yan, who spoke up for Ning Shi. Her eyes were filled with overwhelming hatred. Su Yan, even you are against me now, aren't you? Ning Shiluo chuckled. She looked completely fearless. That's right. I was the one who set her up. I was the one who drugged that bitch's drink. I was the one who prepared 2 male prostitutes for her. So what? She's just a slut who got pregnant after being played by 2 male prostitutes, huh? Ning Shiluo, what did you say? I dare you to say it again. You drugged Xiaoxi. You sent someone to do that to her. Ning Yaohua couldn't believe his ears. At this moment, his body was trembling violently. Even when he knew that Ning Shiluo had killed Zhuang Lingyu's child and that Ning Shiluo had an affair, he had never been so angry. His daughter did not go out on her own, but was raped. Ning Shuo covered her stomach, which was aching from laughing too hard. Ha! I'm dying of laughter. Ning Shi, that country bumpkin, can't even tell the difference between real and fake clothes. She obediently wears whatever I give her. I lied to her that the lemonade I used to wash her hands was for her to drink, but she stupidly drank it. That idiot. I'm afraid she doesn't even know what a male prostitute is. How could she give herself a male prostitute? Of course, the two of you are even more stupid. You actually believed her, huh? Ning Shuiluo's words mixed with sharp and harsh laughter echoed in the silent ward. Zhuang Lingyu opened her mouth as if she was dumbfounded, but could not say a word. This was not true. None of this was true. What on earth had she raised all these years? What did she do to her own daughter for a beast? It was not Ning Shi who killed her two children, but Ning Shuiluo. It was Ning Shuiluo who killed her two children. She had harmed her son and her daughter. Ning Yaohua stared at this extremely unfamiliar woman in front of him, who was like a poisonous snake, and listened to everything she had done to his own flesh and blood. Every word she said was like a death by 1,000 cuts to his body. He charged at Su Yin furiously. Su Yin, speak. Tell me what's going on. You know everything, don't you? Su Yin lowered his head in pain. I'm sorry. It's my fault. When I was in poor health, I stayed in the countryside to recuperate. Cici and I had known each other when we were in the countryside. Before I met Shuai Luo, Cici and I had been dating. I betrayed Cici and did something to Shuai Luo. At that time, my heart was on Shuai Luo. When I found out what Shuai Luo had done to Xiaoxia, I thought she was young and muddle-headed. I thought she really regretted it. So I helped her keep this secret. I lied to Xiaoxia and said that it was me that night. Xiaoxia didn't keep the child on purpose. She did it because she thought the child was mine. She had been waiting for me to come back, to give her a status, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Xiaoxia. I ruined her life. After hearing all this, Ning Yaohua's body trembled violently and his eyes were scarlet. Bastards! You two bastards! How could they do this to his daughter, his own flesh and blood? In his mind, he recalled the time in the hospital, the girl's desperate explanation after the car accident and her miscarriage. He recalled how he scolded and scolded her. He recalled how he had heartlessly sent her abroad for 5 years and didn't care about her at all. Recalled the cold look in Xiaoxi's eyes every time she looked at him after returning home. Recalled the words, "Father, do you deserve it?" He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve to be her father at all. He pushed his daughter into the abyss with his own hands. Chapter 2096. Zheng Minjun and Su Hongguang didn't expect there to be such an inside story. Both of them felt a chill in their hearts. How vicious was this woman? How could she do such a heinous thing at such a young age? Oh my God, what kind of scourge did our Su family marry? Su Yin, how could you be so muddle-headed? How could you get together with such a woman? Zheng Minjun cried. Su Yin smiled bitterly. You were the ones who forced me to separate from Xiaoxia. You were also the ones who set me up with Shuai. Zheng Minjun couldn't say a word. There was no point in regretting now. In short, she had to get a divorce. She had to get a divorce. She couldn't stand this viper-like woman staying in the Su family for another second. Ning Yaohua's face was filled with rage. Bastard, I want you to die a horrible death. Ha ha ha. I want to see how Director Ning. You're an empty shell with no shares in the company. How are you going to make me die a horrible death? Ning Yaohua's pupils constricted, his eyes filled with malice. You. As soon as Ning Shuiluo finished speaking, she looked at Zheng Minjun and Su Hongguang with a strange smile. Oh, and you guys, you want me to divorce Su Yin? Well, I don't mind showing the judge something even more interesting during the trial. For example, evidence of Yi Feng Group's bribery? How dare you? Su Hongguang's expression changed. He never expected Ning Shuiluo to have something like that. Zheng Minjun was completely dumbfounded, her face pale. I'm telling you, you want me to get a divorce? Not in this lifetime. Unless I die, the position of Mrs. Su can only be mine, Ning Shuiluo's. The woman's fierce voice coiled around everyone in the room like a viper. All these years, the kind and innocent daughter they doted on, the smart and capable daughter-in-law they were so proud of, was a demon in human skin. Inside the black Maybach, Lu Jingli chattered excitedly the whole way. sister-in-law, you're so awesome. You made my blood boil. Your acting was amazing. I was fooled by you. I thought all the evidence was real. Also, did you collude with my brother from start?" In the back seat, Ningxi snuggled lazily in Lu Tingxiao's arms and raised her eyebrows. "Do I need to collude with my sweetheart? We have a telepathic connection. Am I right, sweetheart?" Lu Tingxiao's lips curved into a smile. "Yes." Lu Jingli, pretend I didn't ask. Ningxi recalled what happened just now and analyzed. Actually, it was a psychological battle. With the special effects video and my acting skills, I was 70% sure that I could fool Ning Shualuo. But when my sweetheart came, I knew that I would win. Ning Shuo did not believe that she had the ability to do so, but she definitely believed in Lu Tingxiao. Therefore, she would definitely be fooled. Tears welled up in Lu Jingli's eyes as he was stuffed with another mouthful of dog food. The Ning family and Ning Shuo are going to fight it out. After all, Ning Shuo still has a lot of shares in the Ning family. Lu Jingli said. Ning, she said indifferently, "Do you think Ning Yaohua is a good person?" Lu Jingli blinked. That's true. Ning Shuo was so arrogant before because she relied on the power of the Ning and Su families. Now that she has fallen out with both sides, she still naively thinks that she can make a comeback. Chapter 2097. In just a few days, the entire Ning Enterprises was in a precarious situation. Ning Shuo pushed aside the senior members of the company and cultivated her own power. She even publicly announced at the shareholders' meeting that she would remove Ning Yaohua from the position of chairman. However, what happened next was just as Ning she had expected. Ning Yaohua was not a kind person. Ning Yaohua valued his reputation and the reputation of the Ning family the most. No one expected him to be so cruel this time. He did not hesitate to go all out and expose the scandal of Ning Shuo deliberately killing Zhuang Lingyu's unborn child in front of the public. The shareholders' meeting overwhelmingly removed Ning Shuo from her position. According to the relevant regulations, the company had the right to forcefully recover her shares at the original price. At the same time, Ning Xiaotong was invited back as the new president of the company. After this incident, Ning Shuo was completely kicked out of the company, and the shares of Ning Enterprises also plummeted. In order to avoid prison, Ning Shuo made a deal with Ning Yaohua and was forced to give up all her shares without a penny. In other words, she was kicked out of the company without a penny. After the shareholders' meeting, Ning Shuo hurriedly left the building of Ning Enterprises. It took her a lot of effort to avoid the hungry media and return to the Su family. In the living room, Zheng Minjun was watching TV. The TV was broadcasting the news that Ning Shuo had killed her pregnant adoptive mother and her unborn child in order to seize power and was kicked out of the board of directors of Ning Enterprises. Zheng Minjun heard the footsteps at the door and looked at Ning Shuo, who looked like a stray dog. She suddenly sneered and gloated. "You're just a dog who has been proud for a few years because of the relationship between the Ning family and the Su family. Do you really think you're so important?" This damn little bitch was kicked out of Ning Enterprises. She didn't have a penny of stock in her hands. Her reputation was so bad that she was despised by the whole circle. How could she shamelessly occupy the position of the Su family's young mistress? At the thought of such a person staying in the Su family and thinking that she would not be able to meet people in the circle of madams in the future, she wanted to strangle this little bitch. Ning Shuilua acted as if she did not hear Zheng Minjun's words. She looked around and said coldly, "Where's Su Yan? Why do you care about Su Yan? Just take care of yourself. Which man would be willing to stay at home and see your face that can give people nightmares?" Zheng Minjun snapped. Ning Shuilua did not say anything. She slammed the door and drove to one of Su Yan's properties in the capital. She knew that Su Yan still had a house outside. In the past, when he didn't go home, he always stayed outside. Just as he was about to press the doorbell, he realized that the door was only ajar. Ning Shuilua pushed the door open in her high heels. Halfway there, Ning Shuiluo's expression suddenly changed. From the direction of the bedroom came the faint sound of a woman moaning. Ah, that's great. Big brother Yin, You're amazing. Faster. Faster. The expression on Ning Shuiluo's face changed from green to white. She quickly rushed to the door and pushed it open. Inside the room, two naked bodies were intertwined together. Su Yin, who hadn't touched her for a long time and had even flown into a rage at her after discovering that she had used the aphrodisiac, was currently lying on top of another woman's body, madly having sex with that woman. Vice President Ning. The woman was so shocked that she peeked her delicate little face out. The moment she saw that face, Ning Shuiluo's body trembled. Her face was filled with disbelief. Hanzi Xuan. Chapter 2098. The scene in front of her made Ning Shuiluo's head spin. Her chest felt like it was filled with glass shards. She rushed over, grabbed Hanzi Xuan's hair, and dragged her out from behind Su Yan. Bitch, how dare you seduce my man? Hanzi Xuan screamed like a pig being slaughtered, but she quickly turned around and tore her hair away. She screamed, "Why wouldn't I dare? Vice President Ning, I respectfully address you as Deputy General Manager. Do you really think that you are still the Deputy General Manager of Starlight Entertainment? Bitch, so what if I'm a bitch? You're worse than a bitch." Ning Shuiluo was mad. "Bitch, what did you say? I'll tear your mouth apart." Hanzi Xuan didn't care that she was still naked. Instead, she proudly puffed out her chest that was full of ambiguous marks. What did I say? You dared to do it yourself, so why are you afraid of others talking about it? Everyone in the circle knows about your dirty deeds. Not only did you frame your adoptive mother's son to seize power, but you also cheated on Su Yin and gave him a bastard. Even a bitch is cleaner than you. There were many people in the hospital that day. They didn't dare to talk about what happened between Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao, but the Ning family, the Su family, and Ning Shuiluo's dirty deeds have been spread all over the circle. Su Yan's cuckold was comparable to the Siberian prairie. Ning Shuiluo had never expected that one day she would be humiliated by a bitch who would be considered dirty even if she sold herself. And this bitch had even climbed into her husband's bed. Ning Shuiluo stared at the silent man on the bed. "Su Yan, are you crazy? How could you sleep with such a woman? Do you know how many men she has slept with?" Hanzi Xuan stuck to Su Yan provocatively and rubbed her plump breasts against the man's arm. "So what if I've slept with many men? I'm skilled, and Brother Yin likes me." "You." Ning Shuiluo probably hadn't expected that Hanzi Xuan would be so shameless. She almost fainted from anger and screamed as she pounced on Hanzi Xuan. The two of them immediately fought each other. Big Brother Yin, save me," Hanzi Xuan pleaded. "Ning Shuiluo, that's enough." Slap. Su Yin pushed Ning Shuiluo away. Ning Shuiluo was pushed to the ground. She looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. She was about to say Brother Yin, but because Hanzi Xuan had also called him that just now, she was so disgusted that she couldn't say it. "Su Yin, you actually yelled at me because of this bitch. How could you do this to me? Are you insulting me? Or are you insulting yourself? Was it because this woman looked a bit like Ning Shi? Just because of this, he was even willing to sleep with this kind of slut? But he wasn't willing to touch her?" Ning Shuiluo was burning with jealousy. Su Yin casually put on a pair of pajamas. His eyes were cloudy, and the bottom of his eyes was greenish-gray. His usually gentle face was now filled with disgust and impatience. "Ning Shuiluo, I can give you the position of Mrs. Su that you want, but that's all. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other." Nothing to do with each other. Ning Shuiluo bit her lip so hard that it almost bled. Chapter 2099. She loved him so much that she didn't want to leave him even if she was a disgusting cockroach. But now, he wanted her to be a widow. Su Yin. "Hello. Hello." Ning Shuiluo got up and stumbled out of the car. Unexpectedly, before she could reach the parking lot, a large group of reporters suddenly rushed out of nowhere and surrounded her in an instant. "Miss Ning Shuiluo, you're ungrateful and killed your foster mother's child. What do you have to say about this?" "Miss Ning, who is the biological father of the child in your stomach? Rumor has it that it's President Wang from Starlight Entertainment. Is that true? Even if the child in your stomach isn't Su Yan's, it's still your biological child." Don't you feel guilty for killing your own child? I heard that you wanted to frame Ning Shi for the deaths of your 2 children. Did you frame Ning Shi again and again because of your inferiority complex and jealousy? Go away. Go away. I won't accept any interviews. Ning Shiluo wanted to squeeze out of the crowd, but she was surrounded by the reporters and emotional fans. She couldn't take even half a step. Someone threw a rotten egg at her, and the liquid instantly stuck to her hair and face. Then more eggs, mineral water bottles, and rotten vegetables were thrown at her at the Liu family mansion. Yin Rui was furious. Your parents are outrageous. How can they be so muddle-headed? Ning, she said nonchalantly, Mom, it's fine. It's all in the past. Yin Rui took Ning Shi's hand, feeling sorry for her. Girl, you're too naive. Just tell the Zhuang family. If it's inconvenient for the Zhuang family, you can mention our Liu family. If anyone dares to touch you, you'll suffer. With that, Yin Rui looked a little nervous and said tentatively, Ahem, Xiaoxi, Tingxiao's birthday is coming soon. As the lady of the Liu family, you must attend it. Although they had gotten along well with Ning Shi, they were still worried that Ning Shi would hate the Liu family and not want to appear as the Liu family's mistress. Of course, Ning Shi didn't think too much about it. With her current status in the entertainment industry, it didn't matter even if she made it public. It was just a matter of time and opportunity. So Ning Shi answered, Okay, Mom, I'll prepare in advance. Good. That's good. Yin Rui finally heaved a sigh of relief. You just go about your business. You don't have to prepare anything. We'll arrange the banquet. You just have to dress up nicely and show up. While Ning Shi was talking to Yin Rui, a loud wail suddenly came from the small garden. Judging from the sound, it seemed to be little fatty Qi Shuai. In the past, Qi Shuai and Xiao Bao got to know each other through fighting. Later on, this little guy liked to follow behind Xiao Bao and pester him to teach him kung fu. The little guy was lively and energetic, which complemented the quiet Xiao Bao very well. The two of them got along well. Grandma Yin? Master hit me. At this moment, the little fatty covered one of his bruised eyes and ran over while crying. What's going on? Why would Xiao Bao hit you all of a sudden? Yin Rui was shocked. Ning Shi was also surprised to see little Bun's bruised eye. Xiao Bao definitely wasn't a child who would hit people for no reason. Chapter 2100. Seeing Xiao Bao standing at the door, Ning Shi waved at him. Xiao Bao, come here. Xiao Bao pursed his lips, squeezed his hands by his side, and then slowly walked up to Ning Shi. Ning Shi rubbed the little Bun's head. What's wrong, baby? Why did you hit Qi Shuai? Did Qi Shuai do something wrong? Qi Shuai almost burst into tears. Auntie, I didn't. Auntie praised you. But Master suddenly hit me. Ning Shi was even more puzzled by Qi Shuai's words. You praised me? Little fatty Qi. How'd you praise her? Lu Jingli's laughter came from behind. Qi Shuai glared at Lu Jingli. Don't call me little fatty Qi. I really praised Annie. I praised her for being beautiful. Lu Jingli glanced at Xiao Bao, then at Qi Shuai again. Oh, what were your exact words? Qi Shuai rolled his eyes. I said to Master, your stepmother is really beautiful. Yes, that's what I said. Lu Jingli sighed and shook his head. Little fatty Qi, you deserve to be beaten. Who told you to hurt my heart? Qi Shuai was still confused, and Yin Rui coaxed him with snacks. Ning Shi seemed to realize something and pulled Xiao Bao to a corner. Why did you hit Qi Shuai? Can you tell Mommy? Xiao Bao threw himself into Ning Shi's arms. Mommy, I'm here. Mommy, she's not a stepmother. It's Mommy. The little boy's clear eyes were full of stubbornness. Ning Shi felt as if her heart was being gnawed by aphids, and waves of pain came over her. She gently patted the little boy's back and said in an unusually gentle voice, it's Mommy. In the study, Lu Jingli ran to Lu Tingxiao and told him what had happened just now. Hey, Fatty Qi said the wrong thing. He said, stepmother, and hurt Xiao Bao's feelings. Xiao Bao punched him, and now he is running to Ning Shi for comfort. It seems that Xiao Bao still cares about this matter very much. I think the little guy seems to be in a bad mood these days. But there's no other way. When Ningxi's identity is revealed, there will be more such things. In the eyes of others, Ningxi is Xiaobao's stepmother. When Lu Tingxiao heard this, he lifted his head from the pile of documents and looked a little startled. A moment later, Lu Tingxiao asked in a hoarse voice, "How's the investigation going?" Lu Jingli's expression turned solemn. "Brother, you're right. The surveillance cameras were indeed tampered with. I was wondering how it was possible that there were no traces left behind. I was going crazy from the investigation. It turns out that the person had secretly cut out the few minutes in between. I've already found a team of experts to fix it. It shouldn't be a big problem. It's just a matter of time." "Okay." Lu Jingli hesitated for a moment and then asked, "Brother, are you going to tell sister-in-law the truth after we find out what happened to Xiaobao? Xiaobao's identity and that person, it's you?" After a long while, Lu Tingxiao nodded imperceptibly. Time flew by. Soon, it was Lu Tingxiao's birthday. The birthday party was arranged at the top private club in the capital, Tianquan Villa. It had been prepared for several months. Chapter 2101. The guests who came from afar stayed in the villa. The next day, the whole banquet was held in the open air on the wide lawn behind the villa. There was a dance floor, a small band, a big LED screen, and all kinds of delicious food and wine. Nearby, there were entertainment facilities such as a race course, a swimming pool, and a golf course for the guests to relax. There were not many guests present, but each of them was from the top rich and powerful families, including some famous foreign families. Ningxi had arrived early, wondering if there was anything she could do to help. However, Yanrui didn't allow her to do anything for fear that she would be worried and tired. Meng Linlang had always been worried that she wouldn't be able to handle the chores of the Lu family. In the end, she didn't encounter anything. Not only did Yanrui never make any requests of her, she always told her that she was the young mistress of the Lu family, and that she should be doted on and pampered after marrying into the family. Those chores should be done by the servants. Otherwise, what was the point of raising them? She became the most leisurely one. Holding a glass of juice, she found a quiet place to sit and wait for the banquet to officially start. The place where she was staying was near a shooting range, leisurely watching a group of young masters and ladies playing shooting not far away. "Xiaoxi, you are here too. Where is Aunt Lin?" Not far away, a person suddenly came towards her. His tone sounded a little surprised and enthusiastic, but it was not abrupt, but just right. Today, it was rare for Ningxi to be so high-profile that she wore a long red dress, which made her look incomparably bright. Wherever she sat, even if there was nothing, there was a scene that people couldn't take their eyes off. Even Li Mayan, who was calm, couldn't hide the amazement in his eyes at this moment. "Mr. Li." Seeing him, Ningxi greeted him politely and then replied, "Aunt hasn't come yet, so I came first." "Well, do you want to go and play with us?" Li Mayan invited her. "Brother Mayan." At this time, an abrupt female voice interrupted their conversation. A sweet mixed-race girl in a yellow gown quickly ran over, held Li Mayan's arm possessively, and looked at Ningxi vigilantly. "Is it you who charmed Brother Mayan and made him ignore me?" Hearing this, Li Mayan frowned and looked a little unhappy. "Lisa, don't talk nonsense. This is, I know, superstar Ningxi. Who didn't know him? Brother Mayan, I thought you had high standards. Did you fall for this kind of woman who only looks good?" The girl looked unconvinced. "Alyssa, Xiaoxi is my friend," Li Mayan emphasized, seeming to be really angry. The girl called Eliza curled her lips and didn't speak, but it seemed that she still didn't want to give up. "Ningxi, let's have a competition. I heard from your fans that you are good at shooting. You shot all the shooting scenes in the movie The Killer. Do you want to have a competition with me? 10 bullets for the total score. It belongs to whoever wins, Brother Mayan." Li Mayan looked embarrassed. He walked to Ningxi and explained in a low voice, "Xiaoxi, I'm sorry. Lisa has been spoiled by her family since she was a child. She's a little willful and has been educated abroad since she was a child, so she's quite straightforward. In fact, she's not a bad person." Not far away, Lu Jingli was setting up the venue when he caught a glimpse of the scene not far away from him. His gossipy heart was immediately ignited, and he immediately made a video call to Lu Tingxiao. Chapter 2102. Oh, brother, guess what I saw? There's actually a love rival who dares to come and mess with you on such an occasion. And it's the son of Minister Li. Ha ha ha. Brother, your love rival can actually level up. Each level is higher than the previous one. At that time, Lu Tingxiao was still busy in the company. After receiving Lu Jingli's call, he took a look at the video on his phone and couldn't take his eyes off it. His girl was too beautiful today, brother. Brother, did you hear what I said? Lu Jingli looked at his brother's expression in the video and was immediately humiliated. Fuck, I know your wife is so beautiful today, but can you please move your eyes away a little and look to the side? Have a sense of crisis, okay? Someone is going to steal your wife again. He didn't even have the heart to say the word again. On the other hand, Ningxi didn't say anything in response to Li Mayan's apologetic explanation. It's fine. Alyssa saw Li Mayan whispering to Ningxi and got even angrier. Hey, are you going to compete or not? I hate being so wishy-washy and snatching. Let's decide the winner and the loser will quit. Or what do you want to compete in? Camellia tea art, horse riding, or swimming? You decide. Li Mayan didn't expect that Eliza would bump into Ningxi today and even say so many inappropriate words. At this moment, he was filled with anxiety, worried that it would affect the image he had painstakingly built in front of Ningxi for so long. However, he was actually secretly looking forward to whether Ningxi would mind. So, with his ability, he could have easily resolved this conflict. However, he didn't stop Alyssa. Instead, he wanted to see her reaction. Miss Alyssa, you seem to have misunderstood something. Mr. Li and I are just friends, and I'm married. She didn't want to cause any misunderstandings, so she made it clear. Alyssa laughed. Everyone knew that she was single. How could she be married? As a top artist, her every move was watched by countless eyes. If she was really married, it wouldn't be a secret for long. Alyssa said, "What? You're afraid of losing face, so you're saying this on purpose? Fine, I'll take it that you're married. Being married doesn't mean that you're not thinking about Brother Mayan. If you're not guilty, then compete with me. If I lose, I won't care about you and Brother Mayan anymore." Ningxi gently turned the cup in her hand and glanced at Li Mayan, but Li Mayan had no intention of persuading Eliza. At this time, more and more people were watching. After waiting for a while, seeing that Li Mayan still had no intention of speaking, Ningxi said, "Okay, let's shoot." Hearing this, Li Mayan's pupils suddenly contracted, as if he did not expect Ningxi to really agree. As for Ningxi saying that she was already married, he subconsciously thought that she was using it as an excuse to avoid conflict with Alyssa. Eliza only knew that Ningxi was good at shooting, but he didn't know that Ningxi was General Zhuang's granddaughter. He had heard from Meng Linling more than once that Ningxi's shooting skills were superb, even better than Zhuang Rongwang's. Fuck me. Sister-in-law agreed. Lu Jingli was still doing a live broadcast for his brother. Chapter 2103. Lu Tingxiao sounded a little displeased. The camera. Huh? What's wrong with the camera? Lu Tingxiao said, "It's crooked." Lu Jingli said, Okay, I was wrong. I'll point the camera at your wife now." Lu Jingli complained as he said, "Why aren't you worried at all? Your wife is so good at shooting. She even killed Guan Ziyao in seconds. Although I really want to see Cici win and slap those people in the face. But if she wins, won't she be fighting for Li Mayan? I'm so conflicted." At this moment, the young masters and ladies who were playing shooting around the shooting range all gathered around and watched with interest as the two women fought for a man. Meng Linlang had brought Ningxi around the circle of the madams, wanting her to learn how to be the mistress of the family. Therefore, only a few people in the circle of madams knew about the relationship between Ningxi and the Zhuang family. Among these young masters and ladies, except for Li Mayan, they only knew that Ningxi was the hottest star in Hualand. In the upper class, some artists would be invited to liven up the atmosphere at occasions like this. As the most popular artist in Xianxia Entertainment, a subsidiary of Lu Enterprises, It was not surprising that Xianxia was invited. But they didn't expect such a thing to happen today. Xianxia and Li Mayan? Even with Xia's status in the entertainment industry and her identity as Boss Ling, she was still overestimating herself if she wanted to get close to Li Mayan. Alyssa's shooting skills are very good. Otherwise, she wouldn't have dared to propose this competition. She has used this trick to drive away several rivals in love. Compared to the others, no one is a match for her. Eliza is proficient in everything. How can an actress be a match for a real noble lady like Alyssa? Alyssa's mother is a real royal descendant of Country F. Li Mayan listened to the surrounding people's evaluation of Eliza, but his heart did not waver in the slightest. He had seen too many young ladies like Eliza, who had been taught by the elites of an assembly line since young. They had flashy skills, but their souls were boring to the extreme. Thinking of this, Li Mayan looked at Xianxia. Thinking that she would actually fight for him, he unconsciously clenched his fists by his side. For the past few months, he had been very careful and had not broken through that layer of paper. She was the only one he had no confidence in. However, he did not expect that after Eliza's disturbance today, he would actually reap such an unexpected reward. While countless thoughts flashed through Li Mayan's mind, the duel between the two had already begun. Everyone turned to look at the two of them. The process of the competition was that each person would fire one shot until 10 shots were fired. Then, the total score would be tabulated. The first shot, Alyssa 97 points, Xianxia 96 points. The second shot, Alyssa 96 points, Xianxia 95 points. The third shot, Alyssa 98 points, Xianxia 97 points. After 3 consecutive shots, Xianxia fell behind Eliza. The surrounding people all had an as-expected expression on their faces. Li Mayan, on the other hand, unconsciously stiffened his back. Xianxia was a newbie, so her condition was not good, right? But it was still early. There were still 7 more shots. The competition continued. The fourth shot, Eliza 92 points, Xianxia 91 points. The fifth shot, Eliza 89 points, Xianxia 88 points. The sixth shot, Alyssa 94 points, Xianxia 93 points. Looking at this number, everyone was dumbfounded. Chapter 2104. If no one felt that something was wrong at the start, then, by the sixth shot, everyone's eyes were filled with suspicion. Wasn't it too much of a coincidence? Xianxia was lower than Alyssa by 0.1 points every time. The seventh shot, Eliza's mental state was probably affected, so she only scored 34 points. Xianxia followed up with another shot, 33 points. Everyone's expression, were they hallucinating? What did it feel like? She was losing on purpose? It must be an illusion. It was more difficult to score 0.1 points every time than to score 10 points every time. Next, the eighth shot. Alyssa 98 points. Xianxia 97 points the ninth shot. Alyssa 55 points. Xianxia 54 points the 10th shot. Alyssa obviously made a mistake and only scored 1 point, almost missing the target. Xianxia, on the other hand, missed the target directly, 0 points. On the 10th shot, everyone watched helplessly as Xianxia deliberately missed a shot in the air. Everyone, if they still couldn't tell that she was losing on purpose, then they must be blind. She put the safety on the gun and casually tossed it to the waiter beside her. She looked up at Eliza indifferently and said, "I lost." With that, the woman in red dress left gracefully. You did it on purpose." Alyssa's face was flushed with anger. Li Mayan stood there in a daze. It was as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over his head, extinguishing all his excitement. Lu Jingli, who was doing the live broadcast, was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. Fuck. Sister-in-law's skill in picking peach blossoms has reached the pinnacle. She clearly lost, but she slapped that Alyssa's face until it's swollen. "I'll be there soon." Lu Tingxiao hung up the phone. He didn't want to wait a moment longer. He wanted to see her. As the night deepened, almost all the guests had arrived. The atmosphere was getting more and more enthusiastic. The lawn was lit up like stars in the sky, giving off a dreamy feeling. Wow, it's so beautiful. In the past, Lu Tingxiao's birthday banquets were always held in hotels. It's boring and boring. I didn't expect it to be so romantic this time. I think it's for Mrs. Lu. One of the girls looked envious. I heard that Mrs. Lu will be appearing tonight as well. Is that true? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Is Lu Tingxiao really married? I don't want to believe it either. But the news is accurate, so there shouldn't be any mistake. In fact, there have been rumors since a long time ago. It's just that the Lus have been keeping too low of a profile. Even now, no one knows who Mrs. Lu is. I just want to check on Lu Jingli, and he personally said that his sister-in-law will be coming tonight. Oh my God, looks like I'm going to break up. It's not just you. Do you know how many women have fallen out of love? I don't know which woman is so lucky. I should say, I don't know which woman is so powerful to be able to soften a man like Lu Tingxiao. I've long heard that Lu Tingxiao spoils that woman to the heavens. Eliza had just been embarrassed and was still sulking. Ignoring Li Mayan's obstruction, she angrily walked up to Ning Shi and began to question her. Ning Shi, what did you mean just now? Are you trying to humiliate me and Brother Mayan? Hearing this, Ning Shi raised her eyebrows with a puzzled expression. Humiliate? The one who won is you, Miss Lisa. Where did the word humiliation come from? Chapter 2105. This time, it was Lisa who provoked him first. Besides, if Li Mayan had smoothed things over just now, she wouldn't have been in a dilemma. She had been very busy during that period of time, and all her attention had been on Lu Tingxiao. Li Mayan had never acted out of line, so she hadn't noticed Li Mayan's strange behavior and only treated him as her aunt's best friend's son. It wasn't until just now, when she saw the way Li Mayan looked at her, that she realized something was wrong. And Eliza's attitude and actions confirmed her guess. If Li Mayan had smoothed things over just now, she wouldn't have done this. She would have found a chance to make things clear with Li Mayan in private. However, Li Mayan chose to stand by and watch Eliza's aggressiveness. Since that was the case, she could only use her own way to solve this once and for all. Lisa was so angry that she couldn't speak. How could Eliza be reconciled to this? She naturally had to find another way to get back at him. So she stared at Ning Shi's stunning outfit and said, "Today is Mr. Lu's birthday. The main characters are Mr. Lu and Mrs. Lu. You're dressed like this to steal the spotlight. Do you have any basic etiquette as a guest?" Ning Shi's outfit tonight was indeed too high profile and eye-catching. From the moment she appeared, many people had been secretly sizing her up, especially those young girls at the scene, not to mention the rich young masters in the circle. Hearing Eliza's words, everyone also felt that it was inappropriate for Ning Shi to dress like this. Usually, big stars would be invited to such occasions to liven up the atmosphere. Ning Shi wasn't the only one who came tonight. The other artists were very sensible and deliberately avoided the limelight of Mrs. Lu. They were dressed very low-key, but only Ning Shi was dressed in an eye-catching bright red. Bright red was an orthodox color in Hua country. Usually, on such an important occasion, only the host could wear it. Guests would try their best to avoid it. Ning Shi's outfit was indeed not appropriate. Several rich young ladies gathered together and discussed softly. Ning Shi's outfit is indeed a bit too high profile. Isn't this a slap to Mrs. Lu's face? This is inevitable. No matter how famous she is just an actress after all. How would she know so many rules? Just then, a loud commotion came from the entrance. It was the main character of the night, Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao, who had always liked to wear dark colors, was wearing a bright maroon suit today, making him look even more handsome. Perhaps it was because today was his birthday and he was in a good mood. The man's expression was not so cold and stern, but a little more lively. "Boss Lu, happy birthday, Mr. Lu. Happy birthday." Amidst the congratulatory and admiring gazes, the man nodded slightly and simply exchanged greetings with the guests. At the same time, he strode into the venue. The man's long legs didn't stop. Under everyone's gaze, he walked straight to the girl in the red dress, who was as dazzling as the sun. The man stood in front of the girl, his arm naturally wrapping around the girl's waist. He bent down slightly, his thin lips landing a precious kiss on the girl's soft lips. The girl's indifferent mouth instantly bloomed like a flower. She smiled slightly and said softly, "Happy birthday." At this moment, the man, who had always been as cold as an iceberg, had a faint smile in his eyes. "Thank you, madam." Chapter 2106. Above their heads were thousands of stars, and the colorful lights, hanging all around, gave the lawn a dreamy glow. In the middle of the venue, the handsome man and the dazzling girl in front of him stared at each other silently. This scene was as beautiful as a fairy tale. Seeing Lu Tingxiao holding Ningxi in his arms and kissing her tenderly, hearing Lu Tingxiao's words, and hearing the extremely affectionate word, "Madam," all the young ladies who were commenting on Ningxi's clothes just now were all dumbfounded. Eliza was still angry at the fact that Ningxi had overestimated herself and snatched a man from her. At this moment, her exquisite and sweet little face looked as if she had seen a ghost. She stared blankly at the two intimate people beside her. Li Min's expression was even more so. The woman beside Lu Tingxiao, whom he doted on to the bone, the legendary Madame Lu, was actually Ningxi. Ningxi's words earlier on were not an excuse to get out of the situation. It was true. She was really married. After a short moment of silence, the crowd burst into an uproar. "Oh my God! Ningxi is Madame Lu. Lu Tingxiao's wife is Ningxi? That's way too shocking." In that instant, everyone seemed to have suddenly understood why she was wearing such a color tonight. She was the main character, all right. Apart from her, no one else had the right to wear such a color and outfit. It was laughable that all of them were still dressed in such a low profile, afraid that they would steal Madame Lu's limelight. No one could steal Madame Lu's limelight. Lu Tingxiao naturally allowed the girl to hold his arm as he swept his gaze across everyone present and announced the start of the banquet. "Thank you everyone for coming today. Madam and I are very honored. I hope everyone has a pleasant evening." Pleasant? It was so pleasant to see that their idol was taken. Sob, sob, sob. Lu Tingxiao's fangirls who had specially come today were stuffed with a large amount of dog food and were almost about to cry. In the eyes of everyone, Lu Tingxiao had always been an aloof person. There were even many who thought that he liked men, who knew that he would amaze the world with a single brilliant feat when he displayed his affection. It was so brutal that it made one's insides tremble. How could this be? How could it be Ningxi? Although I admit that Ningxi is very beautiful, in terms of status and family background, how could she be worthy of Lu Tingxiao? Exactly. If this was a second young master's wife, it would be understandable. But this is the position of the Lu family's mistress. Unfortunately, no matter how unwilling he was, this was already a fact. Even if he didn't want to admit it, the beautiful couple not far away was really pleasing to the eye. A group of young ladies were muttering indignantly when another low voice came from the entrance. "Ah, it's General Zhuang," someone exclaimed. The old man's hair was white, but his body was strong and his spirit was hale and hearty. Even though he wasn't wearing a military uniform, he still had the aura of someone who came from the battlefield. The middle-aged man beside him had a similar aura, but it was sharper and colder, and his pair of eagle eyes had a terrifying luster. On Zhuang Zongren's left was Zhuang Liaoyuan, and on his right was Meng Linlang, who was wearing a cheongsam and looked as elegant as ever. Behind them was Zhuang Ku'er, who was wearing a custom-made dress, and Zhuang Rongguang, who was standing tall and straight in a military uniform. This family could be said to be extremely eye-catching. Instantly, everyone's eyes were drawn to them. Chapter 2107. It seems that the whole Zhuang family is here. It's true. When did the Zhuang family and the Lu family become so close? The whole Zhuang family is here for Lu Tingxiao's birthday? Everyone was a little suspicious. It's a little strange. One is in the military and the other is in business. They're just acquaintances, right? Especially old Master Zhuang. He has never been close to anyone, especially businessmen. Why would he come to a junior's birthday party in person? But it's hard to say. The Liu family is a force that even the higher-ups are afraid of. I'm afraid the Zhuang family is no exception. That's true. On the other side, Zhuang Ke spotted Ning Shi, the most dazzling girl in the crowd. She immediately ran to Ning Shi and greeted her intimately. Xiaoxi, Ke, you're here too. Ning Shi smiled sincerely when she saw Zhuang Ke. Zhuang Rongguang, who was in a military uniform, rushed to Ning Shi like a monkey and said with a proud expression, "Brother Shi, look, let me ask you, am I handsome or not? Do I look handsome?" Ning Shi looked at the young man who was becoming more and more energetic. Her eyes were full of admiration and she praised him generously. "You're indeed more handsome." Zhuang Rongguang was overjoyed when he heard what he wanted to hear. Meng Linlang gave her son a helpless look and then looked at Ning Shi's outfit. Her eyes lit up. "Shi, you look so good in this outfit. You're too plain. At your age, you should wear bright colors. Don't forget that you won't be able to wear them when you're my age." Seeing this scene not far away, the expressions of the young ladies became somewhat complicated. Why are all the Zhuang family members so close to Ning Shi? Do you even need to ask? It must be because of the Liu family. She is the young mistress of the Liu family, the mistress of the family. Damn, what kind of luck did he have? She really turned into a phoenix when she flew up the branch. It's so unfair. All of us here are much more powerful than her. What is the Liu family thinking? How could they let such a person marry into their family? Even if they don't think about themselves, they should think about the genes and bloodline of their descendants. Ning Shi doesn't deserve Big Brother Liu at all. Seeing that Ning Shi was so familiar with the people of the Zhuang family, the young ladies felt even more unbalanced. They gathered in groups of 3 or 4 and whispered. Only Li Mayan, who knew the inside story, had a bitter smile on his face. How could Zhuang Zongren not hear these voices? His face changed almost instantly. Grandpa Liu had a bad temper. Not to mention this matter involved his most beloved granddaughter. So he scowled and said angrily, "Who said my Cici doesn't deserve this brat from the Liu family?" The deep and hoarse voice was transmitted into everyone's ears. The moment Zhuang Zongren's slightly angry voice rang out, the entire venue was immediately enveloped by a wave of pressure. Those young ladies who were whispering to each other didn't even dare to breathe loudly. At the same time, they all looked at each other in shock. What did General Zhuang just say? My Cici? At this time, Yin Rui came forward with a smile on her face to smooth things over. "Mr. Liu, don't say that. Xiaoxi is your granddaughter." Even Master Xinjing said that Xiaoxi will bring prosperity to her husband and family. It's the blessing of our Liu family that we can marry a daughter-in-law like Xiaoxi. Chapter 2108. Upon hearing Yin Rui's words, the young ladies who boasted about their family backgrounds were all stunned. Old Zhuang's granddaughter. Ning, she is General Zhuang's granddaughter. Damn, how is that possible? So, Ning, she did not transform into a phoenix. She was a phoenix to begin with, okay? This was the #1 aristocratic family in the capital city, a top-notch military and political family. Which of the young ladies present could compare to her? Alyssa claimed that her mother had the blood of the royal family of Country F. But everyone knew that the so-called royal family was just a name. They had no real power at all. The real power lay in the military. Alyssa listened to the discussions around her. When she heard her name being compared to Ning Shi's, her arrogant expression turned into one of disbelief. This woman and the Zhuang family. How could it be? No one would have thought that this girl, who had made her way to where she was today, would have such a terrifying identity and background. She had even married into a family like the Liu family. This Ning, she is really unfathomable. Aren't you hiding it too well? Isn't that right? Who would have thought that she had such a relationship with the Zhuang family? Speaking up to this point, the young ladies had a change of opinion. If Ning, she wanted to use these connections to climb up the social ladder, she could easily do so. But she had kept a low profile until now. It was just like what Ning she had said when she was interviewing for Noble Perfume. True elegance and nobility did not come from using the name of a luxury brand, twirling the expensive accessories on one's wrist, or showing off one's beauty and knowledge. True elegance was that even if one's clothes were ragged and unkempt, one's nobility could not be concealed. True elegance was that even if one hid her identity and never showed off, the bloodline in her bones could not be erased. Some of the people who came today were madams in the circle. They seemed to have long known the relationship between Ning Shi and the Zhuang family. At this moment, they were also chatting with Meng Linlang and Ning Shi. They were very kind and friendly to Ning Shi. It seemed that they were very familiar with each other. Yin Rui and Lu Chongshan's love for their daughter-in-law was obvious. Now that things had come to this point, those young ladies who were unwilling to give up had all lost their temper. Come on, don't be so sour. They are a perfect match, a match made in heaven. Yin Rui's words quelled old Master Zhuang's anger, but there was still some lingering anger on his face. When this old man, who had been in the military for half his life, got angry, no one could calm him down. When Yin Rui and Lu Chongshan were embarrassed, and even Ning Shi, Lu Tingxiao, and Zhuang Ke were helpless, a soft voice came from the side. Great-grandpa. When the old man saw the obedient and cute little darling in front of him, his anger instantly disappeared and turned into a face full of happiness. His cold face was filled with love. Little treasure, quickly come to great-grandpa's side. Xiao Bao, the fully automatic mobile fire extinguisher, walked over obediently. The old and the young chatted happily, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Seeing that the old man was finally not angry, Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao looked at each other and smiled, and they heaved a sigh of relief. Zhuang Rongguang, on the other hand, was extremely jealous and gritted his teeth at the side. Why was this little burden so favored? The next update will be a little later. Everyone, go to sleep first. Chapter 2109. On the lawn, the melodious birthday song sounded, and Lu Jingli and Zhuang Rongguang slowly pushed out a huge birthday cake that was more than 10 stories high. The audience applauded and sang the birthday song, wishing Lu Tingxiao's birthday and the family of 3. Xiao Bao and Lu Tingxiao were wearing parent-child outfits today, and the father and son were wearing the same color as Ning Shi's. The family of 3 stood together, which was very pleasing to the eye. Accompanied by candlelight and music on the huge LED screen, there were pictures of Ning Shi, Lu Tingxiao, and Xiao Bao getting along with each other. Almost all of those photos were taken by Lu Jingli. Even Ning Shi herself didn't know when he had secretly taken those photos. There were pictures of Lu Tingxiao wearing a bright royal blue suit for the first time, pictures of Ning Shi cooking in the kitchen, and pictures of Xiao Bao and Lu Tingxiao helping her. There were even pictures of Xiao Bao's school masquerade party, where Ning Shi dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, and Xiao Bao and Lu Tingxiao dressed up as Little Gray Wolf and Big Gray Wolf, which made the audience exclaim. No one could imagine that the aloof Lu Tingxiao would do such a thing, wearing cute Big Gray Wolf clothes and accompanying his son to the school masquerade party. In the picture, there was a family of 3. The girl was charming and lovely, and the little boy was cute and silly. Although the man was expressionless as usual, his eyes were full of gentleness. Lu Jingli looked at the stunned expressions of those people, and he was so happy. Ha ha! I finally have a chance to show off all the dog food I've eaten all these years. Lu Jingli crazily showed off his dog food, and as he wished, all the single dogs present were stuffed to the point of vomiting. Second young master, that's enough. Stop it. Do you have any humanity? Give us single dog a way out. The crowd was full of envy. Sigh. The 3 of them look like a real family when they stand together. I can't tell that Ning Shi's mother is a stepmother at all. This woman can't be underestimated. She even managed to get the Lu family's young master. You should know that this young master is very difficult to deal with. In addition to envy, there were also some unpleasant voices. Someone sighed and said, although they are a good match, I don't think Ning Shi will have a good life in the future. After all, it's hard to be a stepmother. That's true. She has become someone's stepmother at such a young age, and it's even in such a big family. Moreover, the young master is so spoiled. If she doesn't handle the relationship well, the conflict will not be light. No matter what, she's not his biological mother. Although he had already expected these sounds, they still sounded unusually ear-piercing. Lu Jingli saw that little Bun's expression was gradually changing, so he hurriedly switched to another CD. He was prepared to play some interesting photos of his older brother when he was young. He wanted to trick his older brother, lighten the atmosphere, and change the topic. The LED screen turned black, and the image of the family of three disappeared. However, it quickly lit up again and began to play another set of photos. Lu Jingli smirked. "Brother, there are pictures of you naked when you were young." Lu Tingxiao gave his younger brother a sidelong glance. Lu Jingli was so scared that he hugged his head. No. The furthest he could go was just a little bit of his stomach. "I know that this kind of photo can only be shown to your wife. Sister-in-law, don't worry. I'll secretly send it to you later." Chapter 21:10. Ningxi glanced at Dumbass, speechless. She really wanted to see Lu Tingxiao's childhood photos. Would he look exactly like Xiaobao? It was rare for second young master to show off boss Lu's childhood photos. Everyone looked up at the screen with interest. A photo slowly cut in. The background was a hospital with a sign for obstetrics and gynecology. A pregnant girl was sitting on a bench next to it. Lu Jingli's expression changed the moment he saw the photo, because the pregnant girl in the photo was Ningxi. Although the girl's face was much younger than it was now, it could still be seen that it was Ningxi. While he was stunned, countless photos flashed on the screen. They were all photos of Ningxi with her pregnant belly. The hospital on the road, in the park, huh? What's going on? Is that Ningxi in the photo? She looks very young, but it should be Ningxi. But why is she sitting in front of the obstetrics and gynecology department with a pregnant belly? Fuck. Lu Jingli's face darkened. He was about to pull out the CD when a big hand stopped him. If he stopped the video now, it would only cause more speculation and he would not be able to explain himself. At this moment, Ningxi's face was completely pale after seeing the photo. She was in a trance. Lu Tingxiao stopped Lu Jingli from pulling out the CD. He reached out and hugged the girl's slightly trembling shoulders. "It's okay." Lu Tingxiao looked at those photos attentively. He watched Ningxi walk alone, go shopping, and go to the hospital alone with Xiao Bao in her arms. His brows were filled with an indescribable expression, and he unconsciously tightened his arms around the girl. Ha. At this moment, a shrill female voice came from the crowd. A woman in a waitress uniform stumbled out of the crowd and rushed to the big screen. She screamed crazily. What daughter of a rich family? What daughter of God? This woman was pregnant by a wild man at the age of 18, and she still pretended to be pure and noble in front of you. She's a piece of trash. She's a shameless bitch. The crowd was even more shocked when they saw Ning Xiuelua. That woman looks like Ning Xiuelua? Yes, it's her. The adopted daughter of the Ning family. The one who was recently kicked out of the Ning family. Due to Ning Xiuelua's recent incident, many people present recognized her. Thinking of her relationship with Ning Shi, everyone believed those photos even more. If it was Ning Xiuelua, it would be normal for her to know Ning Shi's secrets. Did she sneak in to take revenge on Ning Shi? Who would have thought that such a big thing would happen at Lu Tingxiao's birthday party? Lu Tingxiao's wife, the matriarch of the Lu family, had such a scandal exposed. Pregnant out of wedlock at 18. Oh my God, no way. Was Ning Xiuelua telling the truth? Ningxi got knocked up by a wild man when she was 18? Does the Lu family know about this? Does Lu Tingxiao know about it? Of course you don't know. Otherwise, how could he marry such a woman? It was too terrifying. As expected, the private lives of women in the entertainment circle are so messy that it's scary. Chapter 21:11. The noise and discussion around them grew louder and louder. Lu Tingxiao looked at these so-called shocking photos. His expression did not change at all from the start to the end. He looked at Ning Shulalua calmly and said quietly, "Thank you, Miss Ning, for bringing Xiaoxi these precious memories today." What? Precious memories? Ning Shulalua was stunned for a moment. In the next second, she heard Lu Tingxiao continue. "The wild man Miss Ning is talking about is me." After a moment of strange silence, everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Huh? WH. What? What does Lu Tingxiao mean? The wild man is him. Ning Shualua's mind was in a mess. Her eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. "What did you say?" "CEO Lu, this woman is obviously pregnant with a bastard child. How could it be?" Lu Jingli rolled his eyes and laughed coldly. "Ha! This lady, first you called my brother a wild man, then you called my little treasure a bastard child. I admire your courage." Lu Jingli's words caused an even bigger uproar. Little treasure? Lu Jingli means that the child Ning she was pregnant with was little treasure? Damn! Little treasure's biological mother is Ning Shi. Just now, Ning Shualua said that Ning Shi was 18 years old. According to the timing, it really matches. In the midst of the noisy discussion, Lu Tingxiao's cold gaze suddenly swept across everyone present. That terrifying pressure came from all directions, and immediately, everyone subconsciously fell silent. The entire venue was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. After a while, Lu Tingxiao said, "Everyone, I'm sorry. Because of my negligence, I've caused some unnecessary misunderstandings. Ning Shi and I have known each other for a long time, but because of some misunderstandings, we were separated for a few years. After Xiaoxi returned to the country, we got back together again." Lu Tingxiao paused, then continued, "Little treasure is born of me and Ning Shi." When she heard this, Ning Shua was stunned at first, then she laughed uncontrollably. "Ha ha! CEO Lu, I didn't think that you would actually say that a bastard child is yours just to save face. It's really an eye-opener." Lu Jingli's tone was as if he was looking at an idiot as he said faintly, "Miss, your stupidity is the real eye-opener. My brother planted the seed himself. How could he not know? Previously, due to some procedures, my sister-in-law and Xiaobao did a DNA test. Do you think everyone is as stupid as you? This is impossible. That's impossible." Ning Shualua's back stiffened, but her tone was firm. Lu Jingli raised an eyebrow. "Oh, impossible. Miss, why are you so sure that it's impossible?" Ning Shualua was suddenly speechless. Obviously, she could not tell him the reason. She was the one who had drugged Ning Shi. She was the one who had arranged for the two gigolos. How could this be? No, that's not right. At that time, the two gigolos said that when they arrived, they realized that Ning Shi had gone in the wrong room. The person who had sex with her was a stranger. Could it be? Could that man be Lu Tingxiao? When she thought about this, Ning Shualua's face turned pale and her body started to tremble violently, as if she had just found out something extremely terrifying. This possibility was simply tearing her apart. At this moment, an old man suddenly walked out from the crowd. Chapter 21:12. At this moment, an old man suddenly walked out of the crowd. He looked at Ning Shua with extreme displeasure and said sternly, "Miss, I see that you're still so young. How can you create such rumors and slander the innocence of others out of thin air? I did the paternity test between Mrs. Lu and Xiaobao myself. Xiaobao is 100% Mrs. Lu's biological child. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come to me." The person who spoke was the old director of the Imperial Military Hospital. He was the one who treated the head of state. His words were undoubtedly a symbol of authority. As soon as Director Zhao stepped out, everyone's doubts were dispelled, and they came to a sudden realization. Zhuang Liaoan watched as Director Zhao stepped forward, then glanced at the old man beside him, who had been calm the entire time. He finally understood how Lu Tingxiao had convinced the old man back in hospital, and why the old man had accepted Xiaobao so easily. So that was it. The similarities between Xiaobao and Ning Shi, the intimacy between mother and son, and Xiaobao's shooting talent, which was the same as the Zhuang families, were all explained. The discussion around them suddenly became louder. No one had expected the truth to be like this. At the same time, the way they looked at Ning Xiaoluo changed. It's true. Xiaobao's biological mother is really Ning Shi? Holy shit. No wonder. I was wondering why the mother and son got along so well. They were like real mother and son. It turns out that they are biological children. This Ning Xiaoluo is so funny. She came here to sow discord without knowing anything. She even called Lu Tingxiao a wild man. She called the little prince a bastard. Ning Shi is also quite pitiful. Not only was she swapped, but she also had such a shameless person who took her place. Her parents are also unreliable. No wonder the Zhuang family only recognizes Ning Shi and completely ignores the Ning family, and Ning Xiaoluo still ignores her. This kind of person should be killed by a car. It's the first time I've seen such a vicious woman. She killed her adoptive mother's fetus, and she's still not reconciled. Seeing that Ning Shi's living a good life now, I'm afraid she's not reconciled. She's going to continue to harm Ning Shi and create such vicious rumors on an occasion like today. It's as disgusting as maggots in one's bones. There were disgusted and disgusting gazes all around, as if they were looking at a pile of disgusting maggots crawling on garbage. Ning Xiaoluo's face went blank. Her legs gave way, and she fell to the ground. In the past, in order to obtain the Ning family, in order to fight over Su Yin, she had racked her brains. But in the end, Lu Tingxiao and Ning Shi got together. The person who slept with Ning Shi was Lu Tingxiao. What made her even more incredulous was that Ning Shi's child had been killed by a car. Why was this happening? That child didn't die? How could he not be dead? How could this be? No matter how she thought about it, she couldn't figure out how things had turned out this way. Originally, she was prepared to die with Ning Shi, so she risked defending the Lu family to make a scene. Anyway, she had nothing left. She could never let Ning Shi sit in the position of Mrs. Lu with peace of mind. But now, it's over. Everything was over. At the entrance of the venue, several uniformed policemen walked in solemnly and walked straight in the direction of Ning Xiu. Miss, you're suspected of drug smuggling and participating in many illegal activities abroad. Please come with us. End of update. Countdown to the finale. Last wave of monthly votes. Chapter 21:13. Lu Tingxiao knew that Ning Shi valued affection the most. She didn't kill Ning Xiaoluo for the sake of her adoptive parents. But that woman was still unrepentant. Since Ning Shi couldn't do it, he would do it. Late at night, the birthday party finally came to an end after all the guests had left. As soon as the party was over, Yan Rui and Lu Chongshan stopped Lu Jingli. Jingli, what's going on? Is Ning Shi really Xiaobao's mother? Yan Rui asked anxiously. Lu Jingli nodded seriously. That night 7 years ago, the girl who was with my brother was actually sister-in-law. At that time, sister-in-law was drugged by Ning Xiaoluo. Originally, Ning Xiaoluo had arranged for someone to ruin sister-in-law's innocence, but sister-in-law accidentally walked into the wrong room and entered my brother's room. Yan Rui and Lu Chongshan looked at each other. They didn't expect that there would be such a coincidence in this world. Well, as you know, my brother was also drugged at that time. He and my sister-in-law were delirious and had no memory of what happened that night. My brother and I found out the truth nearly 2 years ago. Then we did a paternity test and confirmed that our guess was right. The girl who was with my brother that night was indeed my sister-in-law. However, because what happened back then had caused too much harm to sister-in-law, my brother didn't dare to confess to her that it was him. That's why he didn't tell her the truth until Ning Xiaoluo came out today. Then Lu Jingli explained to them why Ning Shi got pregnant and why she didn't abort the child. The more Yan Rui and Lu Chongshan listened, the angrier they became. Ning Xiaoluo is insane. Fortunately, it was your brother. If not, Yan Rui couldn't imagine it. It was a great blow to my sister-in-law. She has been living in the shadow for years. She kept rejecting my brother, not because she wanted to play hard to get. It was because of this that she refused to accept any man. Lu Jingli said seriously. Hearing their son's words, Lu Chongshan and Yin Rui were full of guilt. Yin Rui sighed. Xiaoxi is a good girl. It's not her fault. As Yin Rui spoke, her face lit up again. Now it's great. Everyone is happy. It was great that Xiaoxi was Xiaobao's biological mother. Xiaobao will be so happy. Hearing this, Lu Chongshan frowned and said in a low voice, but Jingli just said that Xiaoxi has always hated that man. Now that she knows that man is Ting Xiao. At this point, the three of them fell into silence. Dear Town, Flower House. When they got home, Ningxi finally had a chance to talk to Lu Tingxiao alone. In the courtyard, the two of them stood quietly under a bush of roses. Ningxi's expression was a little fatigued. Today was the first time she had made an official appearance as Mrs. Lu. She had not expected so many things to happen. But fortunately, everything had been resolved without any mishaps. Ningxi sat down on a chair. Lu Tingxiao, how did you convince Director Zhao to help you? After she woke up from her vegetative state, apart from Annie, Director Zhao had been taking care of her body. Therefore, she could be considered to be familiar with Director Zhao. She knew that he valued his reputation and professional integrity the most. He would never cheat for others. Lu Tingxiao must have spent a lot of effort to convince him. Chapter 21:14. Hearing Ningxi's question, Lu Tingxiao's fingers tightened slightly, and he remained silent for a while. He had expected this. Although everyone believed that Xiaobao was her biological son, Ningxi thought it was arranged by him. After all, Ningxi was the least likely person to believe this fact. Sweetheart. Seeing that the man didn't speak, Ningxi looked at him suspiciously. At this moment, the aura around the man had frozen into ice, but his body seemed to be injected with turbulent volcanic magma, almost burning him up. Ningxi noticed that something was wrong with Lu Tingxiao, and her expression became slightly solemn. What's wrong? What's wrong? The roses above their heads withered in the night wind. She didn't know how long it had been. The man finally said, Xiaoxi, I didn't arrange it. Director Zhao's words are true. Ningxi's mind went blank for a second, as if she couldn't understand what Lu Tingxiao meant. What? I did a paternity test for you and Xiaobao, and the results were true. Lu Tingxiao took a deep breath, took out a report from his arms, and handed it to the girl. Xiaoxi, you are indeed Xiaobao's biological mother. Ningxi took the report from Lu Tingxiao and stared at the results at the end of the report dully. The next second, her pupils suddenly contracted and her mind went blank. Based on the test results of the 19 STR loci, it could be seen that Ningxi's genes met the genetic conditions of being Lu Qingyu's biological mother, and the probability of their parentage was calculated to be 999,999. According to the results of DNA analysis, Ningxi was Lu Qingyu's biological mother. How? How could it be Ning? She opened her mouth but couldn't say a word. Lu Tingxiao seemed to be afraid that he would lose the courage to speak again, so he immediately continued. Xiaoxi, Xiaobao, is our child. He is our child. In fact, the reason why Ning Xiuo could appear so smoothly was partly because he deliberately connived with her. In this way, he forced himself not to escape anymore. Ningxi felt as if she was in a dream, and everything in the dream was upside down. Her brain was in a mess, and she couldn't tell whether it was a dream or reality. How could it be? My child, the child is dead, is dead. Lu Tingxiao's thin lips tightened. Although I still don't know why. The truth is that he is not dead. He is Xiao Bao. He's little Bao. That child is little Bao. Little Bao is my child? Ningxi was in a trance. Lu Tingxiao. Yes, it's our child. Our. Lu Tingxiao closed his eyes and said in a trembling voice, I'm sorry. Xiaoxi, I'm sorry. I've known about this for more than a year, but I can't say it to you. I can't tell you. The one who hurt you, the one who made you feel pain and despair for so long, is me. I was afraid that you would leave me. That proud man actually said the word afraid to her at this moment. Sorry, that person was me. After the man said this, he just stood there quietly, the light around him dimming, like a person waiting for the sentence of death, and in an instant, all the vitality had been sucked out. Chapter 21:15. Time slowly ticked by. Lu Tingxiao's face turned paler and paler, and his blood turned colder and colder. His fingers were clenched into fists. At this moment, a burst of sweet breath suddenly assaulted him. His cold lips suddenly softened. That warm voice with a trace of salty tears, pressed against his lips, sounded in this endless night. Fortunately, it's you. In this world, there's nothing more beautiful than this. The flames subsided, and the ashes turned into soil. Suddenly, flowers blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Lu Tingxiao hugged the girl in his arms tightly and kissed her deeply. He wanted to melt the person in his arms into his bones and blood. This was the most beautiful words he had heard in his life. The most beautiful words. His girl always moved and surprised him time and time again. Under the moonlight, the two quietly snuggled together. I'm sorry, I should have told you earlier. Lu Tingxiao kissed the top of the girl's head. Ningxi nodded in agreement. Yes, if you had told me earlier, we wouldn't have been so conflicted. You didn't care when you found out about me. Why would I leave you because of this? Besides, it's not anyone else, it's you, my husband. I can't be more than happy. Besides, you were also cheated by Lu Jingli back then. Lu Jingli, who was hiding in the corner and eavesdropping, thought to himself, how can my baby get shot in the back? Well, at such an exciting moment, he might as well get shot in the back. Fortunately, Xianxia did not divorce his brother, otherwise he would be dead. Listening to the girl's gentle words, Lu Tingxiao felt as if his whole body was soaked in warm water. His internal organs that had been burned just now quickly recovered, and his heart was filled with joy as if he had survived a disaster. It's my fault. Ningxi knew and understood Lu Tingxiao's feelings too well. Because he cared too much about someone, even the smartest person would fall into such a state of anxiety. There's another reason I didn't tell you, Lu Tingxiao said in a slightly low voice. What is it? Ningxi subconsciously felt that what Lu Tingxiao was going to say next should be very important. I've been looking into Xiaobao's matter. I want to find out who sent Xiaobao to the Lu family and what his purpose was. Ningxi's eyes lit up. Have you found anything? Lu Tingxiao's tone deepened. Not yet, but I found an important clue. I found out that a part of the hospital surveillance footage was cut out. As long as we can restore this part of the footage, we might be able to find out who the culprit is. Originally, I planned to tell you everything after the truth is revealed. If everything goes according to plan, the footage should be restored in a few days. Ningxi looked serious. Who could it be? Lu Tingxiao was silent. Even he had no clue about this. Mom, a voice suddenly came from behind. Ningxi abruptly turned around, and then saw Xiaobao standing nervously behind her, his big eyes staring at her without blinking. Looking at the little bun in front of her, Ningxi's eyes suddenly turned red. Baby, Xiaobao wiped his eyes with the back of his hand and immediately threw himself at Ningxi. Mom, are you really my mom? Did mommy give birth to Xiaobao? Well, yes, I'm Xiaobao's mother. My mother gave birth to Xiaobao. As soon as she finished speaking, she felt her shoulder wet and her heart ached. Is it true? Xiaobao raised his red eyes and stared at his father in front of him. His eyes were as fragile glass. Chapter 21:16. Lu Tingxiao squatted down and rubbed his son's little head with his broad palm. It's true. You're your mother's and my child. After getting his father's affirmation, the little fellow's flickering eyes suddenly shone like a bright pearl. His gaze was unusually firm. Xiaobao knew it. From the first time I saw Mommy, I knew that Mommy was Xiaobao's mommy. Ningxi looked at the adorable little bun in front of her, and her eyes became slightly wet. She excitedly rubbed the little bun into her arms. Oh, baby, quickly pinch me. Am I dreaming? I actually gave birth to such a cute, adorable, intelligent, and talented baby. I'm really amazing. The little bun didn't pinch Ningxi. Instead, he kissed Ningxi's cheek with sparkling eyes. Xiaobao also feels like he's dreaming. Mommy, who shines like a princess and is as beautiful as a rose, is actually Xiaobao's mommy. Xiaobao is so happy. Xiaobao is also amazing. Looking at the mother and son, the corners of Lu Tingxiao's mouth turned up. He chuckled softly, and his brows were full of tenderness. As for Lu Jingli, who was hiding in the dark, he was about to vomit to death. Fuck, that's enough, you two. How could you boast like that? He had been so worried and rushed over to save the situation, but in the end, he had come to be abused. All right, the two at home were still anxiously waiting for him. He had to hurry and report the good news. Late at night, in the bedroom, Ningxi gently sang to coax the little bun to sleep. The little fellow clutched the corner of her clothes sleepily and didn't let go. Ningxi leaned over and kissed the little bun's forehead. Baby, sleep. Mommy will always be here. Good night. The little fellow murmured in a daze. Mommy, good night. The little bun rubbed his eyes and looked at Lu Tingxiao. He murmured again in a daze. Good night. Daddy. Lu Tingxiao suddenly froze when he heard the word daddy from Xiaobao, as if he couldn't react at all. Looking at Lu Tingxiao's rare, stunned expression, Ningxi raised her eyebrows slightly and chuckled. Sweetheart, don't tell me this is the first time Xiaobao has called you daddy? Lu Tingxiao. It was indeed the first time he had been called daddy. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is it really the first time? Lu Tingxiao. Yes, he was in such a miserable state. Uff, this seemed a little tragic. Ningxi held back her laughter and kissed Lu Tingxiao's lips to comfort him. Don't be sad. Xiaobao will definitely start to call you in the future. Lu Tingxiao leaned over and kissed her back. Yes, thanks to madam. Ningxi raised her head and looked at the man beside her. She blinked and suddenly said, Lu Tingxiao, let's find a time to make it public. Lu Tingxiao was startled when he heard this. Oh, that's exactly what I meant. I want to make it completely public. Lu Tingxiao's throat tightened. Are you all right? Ningxi analyzed. My fan base is stable now, and I can start a transform. Announcing my marriage at this time won't have much impact on me. Instead, it's good for my transformation. Lu Tingxiao's voice was slightly hoarse. Okay. Ningxi smiled and kissed her sweetheart's handsome face. Then I'll start preparing now. If everything goes well, after I finish my work and sign a contract with Shenmian, I can start preparing. Thank you, madam. Chapter 21:17. After the birthday party, Ningxi invited Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao out for a big meal. Actually, the big meal was just an excuse. She just wanted to show off to the three singles that she had given birth to such an adorable son. Also, she wanted the three of them to do her a favor. She wanted to see if they could find out who had sent Xiaobao to the Lu family. If even Lu Tingxiao couldn't find out who it was, no one in the world could. But it was good to have more hope. After that, Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao got busy, while waiting for Lu Jingli's news. The recovery of that surveillance video seemed to have encountered some trouble, and there was no breakthrough for a long time. In addition, Xiaobao was sick and had a fever during this period, so Ningxi's mood was more or less affected. As long as that incident was not solved, she would never be at ease. After all, she didn't even know whether the other party was a friend or a foe. Why did that person know that Xiaobao was Lu Tingxiao's son when she and Lu Tingxiao didn't know? And why did that person send Xiaobao to the Lu family? If the person who sent Xiaobao back to the Lu family was someone who knew the truth, it was purely out of kindness and good intentions. There was no reason for them to deliberately hide their identity. There were too many unexplainable mysteries about this incident. As Ningxi thought about these things, she gently patted Xiaobao, who was blushing on the bed. She glanced at the thermometer and felt even more frustrated. 385. He still has a fever. Lu Tingxiao held Ningxi's shoulders and comforted her. Don't worry. The doctor said that children are prone to colds and fevers in this season. It's just a minor illness. Ningxi nodded. I know, but she was still troubled by that incident, and it was inevitable that she would be affected. Seeing Ningxi's troubled look, Lu Tingxiao sighed. He regretted telling her so early. I heard from Lu Jingli that the surveillance footage will be repaired in 3 days at most. Ningxi took a deep breath. Okay, everything would be revealed in 3 days. However, before Lu Jingli could get the results, something happened to Xiao Bao. He had thought it was just a common cold and fever, but the fever kept coming back. Xiao Bao had been like this before because he was traumatized. Ever since Ningxi appeared, he hadn't been like this for a long time. But now, it seemed that a similar situation had occurred again. He had a fever that could not be cured. This time, it was useless even if Ningxi stayed by Xiao Bao's side. In the room, everyone's expression was somewhat solemn. Lu Jingli grabbed his hair anxiously. It doesn't make sense. Xiao Bao just found out that Xiaoxin is his biological mother and is happy. He has been happy these days. It's impossible for him to have a high fever because of psychological factors. Dean Zhao said in a deep voice, I've already done a detailed physical examination on Lil Bao. All of Lil Bao's indicators are normal. There's nothing wrong with him. How is it possible that the fever doesn't subside? There must be a problem somewhere. Ningxi was flustered as she held Xiao Bao in her arms. The little fellow's breathing was rapid, and his face was flushed. These past few days, his spirit was getting worse and worse, and he was sleeping more and more. Director Zhao thought for a moment and said, Don't be too anxious. It's not uncommon for children to have this condition. If the fever doesn't subside by tomorrow, bring the child to the hospital for another checkup. Lu Tingxiao nodded. All right. Chapter 21:18. Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi stayed with Xiao Bao all night. The next morning, Ningxi suddenly opened her eyes and found that she had fallen asleep. She hurriedly got up and went to check on Xiao Bao. How is Xiao Bao? Don't worry. His fever has subsided. Lu Tingxiao hurriedly said. Ningxi heaved a sigh of relief. That's great. Lu Tingxiao's eyes dimmed. No one knew what he was thinking, but he looked relaxed and comforted her. You're too nervous. Ningxi nodded. I think so. She was under a lot of pressure. After Xiao Bao's fever subsided, he didn't have a recurrent fever like before. He was fine for 2 days in a row. However, no one expected that on the third day, Xiao Bao's condition suddenly became serious. Although he didn't have a fever, he somehow fell into a coma and was extremely weak. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao sent him to the capital military hospital overnight. The results of the second full-body examination came out, but no problem was found. Looking at Xiao Bao lying on the bed with a respirator, Ningxi took out her cell phone with trembling hands. I'll ask Annie to have a look. She had thought it was just a common cold and fever, but she didn't expect it would suddenly develop like this. At the door of the ward, Ningxi was about to make a phone call when she heard a voice behind her. Little bastard, are you sick? Yinshun. Ningxi looked at the man who suddenly appeared in the corridor in surprise. As always, the man had a head full of arrogant white hair and wore a black shirt, which made his originally fair skin seem even more white and translucent. Seeing Ningxi's surprised expression, the man raised his right middle finger, which was wrapped up exaggeratedly. I was pricked by a needle. Annie went out to pick herbs and was not there. Yi forced me to come to the hospital. He sounded very aggrieved. Not only Tang Yi and Feng Xiao, but also Tang Lang was there. Since the temporary truce between Yinxin and Lu Tingxiao, Tang Lang and Tang Yi often hung out and fought. Tang Yi wore a pair of glasses and had a cold face. Feng Xiao and Tang Lang stood there with their arms crossed, the corners of their mouths twitching speechlessly. Let's not talk about how you got pricked by a needle out of nowhere. What's there to feel aggrieved about? It's not like I don't know about your weird physique. Once you're injured, you bleed like you're on your period. Xiao Bao is sick. Feng Xiao glanced at the little fellow in the ward. What's going on? Xiao Bao's fever hasn't healed yet? Tang Lang asked. Ningxi looked a bit pale. She shook her head and said, Yes, he had a recurring high fever. His fever finally subsided 2 days ago, but now he suddenly fell ill again. The hospital has checked him twice, but found no reason. I'm going to ask Annie to come and see Xiao Bao. Yinshun glanced at the little bun in the ward. He narrowed his eyes and murmured, This situation seems familiar. What? Ningxi's expression tightened. You've seen it? Where have I seen it before? I have to see the little bastard's condition first to be sure, Yunshun said. Ning, she frowned. She didn't believe him. She had never heard that he could treat patients. Tisk, looks like sister-in-law doesn't trust me? Forget it then. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao said, it's okay. Let him see. After Lu Tingxiao spoke, Ningxi immediately nodded in relief. Oh, then hurry up and look. Yinshin was speechless. He suddenly didn't want to watch it anymore. Chapter 2119. In the end, he entered the ward reluctantly. Ningxi and the others stood aside nervously, waiting for Yunshun's result. Yinshin asked about Xiaobao's condition casually. Then he lifted Xiaobao's clothes and looked at him. Then he narrowed his eyes and said, he's not sick but poisoned. What did you say? Ningxi and Tang Lang's expressions changed. Tang Yu was also surprised. Only Lu Tingxiao's eyes darkened, as if he had expected this result. What kind of poison is it? How do you know? How could Xiaobao be poisoned? Ningxi asked a series of questions. Yunshun put down Xiaobao's clothes and said, I don't know how or what kind of poison he was poisoned, but I'm sure that he was poisoned. Ningxi was furious at Yunshun's answer. She might as well not answer him. Yunshun seemed to be immersed in some kind of memory as he slowly said, I've seen people who were poisoned by this kind of poison. At first, they also had a recurring fever. What's interesting is that they had a fever on the first day and recovered on the second day. On the third day, they had a fever and recovered on the second day. Every time they had a fever, their bodies became weaker and weaker, and their spirits became worse and worse. Moreover, they couldn't find out the reason. It was like a game of torture. It gave people hope and instantly made them despair. Hearing Yunshun's words, Ning, she quickly took a closer look at Xiaobao's body. Sure enough, there were many red spots on Xiaobao's body. They had been there before, but they were very few. She thought they were caused by allergies and fever, but now it seemed that these red spots had been increasing with Xiaobao's fever. Who would poison a child like this? Tang Yi frowned. Tang Lang narrowed his eyes. This is obviously a torture method. Someone must have come to seek revenge, right? However, Xiaobao was usually so well protected. Previously, because of great God Han Zhao's presence, those people were all scared away. When exactly was this poison administered? None of us noticed it at all. Tang Lang suddenly had a bold idea. Could this poison have something to do with the person who sent Xiaobao back to the Lu family? Feng Xiaoxiao subconsciously glanced at Yunshun. She deliberated over her words and said, Actually, I've heard of this poison before. I heard that it can be planted in a person's body for a long period of time. It's possible for it to be triggered after 3 to 5 years. Therefore, it's highly possible that when Xiao Bao was first sent to the Lu family, he had already been planted with this poison and it only flared up recently. If that's the case, then it makes sense. Ningxi had never thought that things would turn out like this. Because this matter involved Lil Bao, her mind was in chaos. Listening to Feng Xiaoxiao and the others' analysis, her mind was in chaos, and she couldn't think straight. Little bastard, how many days have you been like this? Yinshin suddenly asked at this time. Lu Tingxiao replied, 6 days. Yinshun's eyes flashed. 6 days? I know of people who have been poisoned by this poison. They all die on the 7th day after the poison takes effect. Yunshun's words immediately caused Ningxi's heart to fall into an endless abyss. Ning, she said anxiously, how is that possible? Doesn't that mean Xiaobao only has less than a day left? Could you have made a mistake somewhere? It's already the 6th night since Xiaobao's fever started. Didn't this mean that Xiaobao wouldn't live past tomorrow morning? This result exploded in Ningxi's mind like a bolt from the blue. Chapter 2120. Yinshin frowned slightly and said in a low voice, I don't know much about this poison. I'm just telling you my opinion based on the situation. For a moment, everyone was silent. Ning, she didn't have time to think. Her fingers trembled as she dialed Annie's number. Hello, Annie. Brother Shi, you finally called me. I was afraid you were busy, so I didn't dare to disturb you. Annie's happy voice came from the other end of the phone. Ningxi interrupted Annie apologetically. Annie, I'm sorry. Where are you now? Can you come to the Capital Military Hospital? I have something urgent to talk to you about. Hospital? What's wrong, brother Shi? Annie asked nervously. No. Anyway, come over here first. Annie was relieved to hear that she wasn't in trouble. She said, Okay, I'll be right there, but I'm in Cydia now. I might not be able to come here so soon. Lu Tingxiao said, I'll arrange a helicopter to pick you up. Ningxi immediately said, Send me your exact location. I'll send someone to pick you up. Okay. After the call, Ningxi's body trembled and she almost collapsed. Lu Tingxiao held the girl in his arms and looked at the time on his watch. His eyes darkened. It would take more than an hour to fly from City A to the capital by helicopter. As time went by, everyone's mood became heavier and heavier. Feng Xiaoxiao hugged Ningxi and comforted her. Xiaobao will be fine. Satan must be playing with you again to scare you. Ningxi closed her eyes and didn't speak. Although Yunshen was very unreliable most of the time, he wouldn't say this if he wasn't 100% sure about it. Therefore, she was sure that he was telling the truth. Lu Tingxiao had been operating a complicated software on his phone attentively, as if he was commanding something. After an unknown amount of time, a cell phone suddenly rang in the silent corridor. It was Lu Tingxiao's cell phone. Lu Tingxiao immediately answered the call. Hello. Okay, send it to me now. Ningxi's expression changed. What? Has the surveillance been restored? Lu Tingxiao nodded. Yes. What surveillance? Feng Xiaoxiao asked in confusion. Tang Lang gave a simple explanation. Once the surveillance is restored, we will be able to find out who took Xiaobao away from the hospital and sent him to the Lu family. At this time, Lu Tingxiao's phone was receiving documents. The progress bar moved forward bit by bit, and after a while, with a beep, the file was finally successfully transferred. Everyone held their breath and looked at Lu Tingxiao's phone screen. Ningxi's fingers tightened even more. Who was it? Who could it be? Lu Tingxiao's slender fingers quickly clicked on the surveillance video. The scene on the monitor was cold and deathly still. It was obviously a hospital morgue. The door opened, and a staff member walked in with a wrapped baby in his arms. He placed the baby in the freezer, then turned around and left. The moment she saw the object in the hands of the staff, although she could only vaguely see that it was a baby covered in blue and purple, Ningxi's heart subconsciously skipped a beat. Is that Xiaobao? Just as she was thinking, the door of the morgue was pushed open again, and a thin figure in black and a cap walked in. Because the man's back was to the camera, his face could not be seen clearly. It must be him, Tang Lang said excitedly. The man opened the freezer and took out the dead baby that the staff had just put in. Then he quickly closed the freezer and turned to leave. The next second, the man turned around. Ningxi, Tang Lang, Tang Yi, Feng Xiaoxiao, and even Yunshen, who were staring at the video, all turned pale. Annie, how could it be? How could it be Annie? Chapter 21-21. Annie, Tang Lang, and Feng Xiaoxiao cried out at the same time. Tang Ye's eyes behind the glasses were filled with shock. Yunshen's face was also filled with astonishment. Ningxi stared at the frozen face on the screen. She opened her mouth, but couldn't say a word for a long time. Annie, how could it be Annie? However, the girl on the phone screen had a delicate and beautiful face that didn't show her age. Her appearance was almost the same as the current Annie, so they all recognized her at a glance. Annie's appearance was very young. In addition, it was probably because of her good medical skills and proficient in maintaining youth and health. Ever since Ningxi met her, her appearance didn't seem to have changed much. The little girl in her memory had always looked like this. Ningxi didn't expect to see such a face in the surveillance video that they had painstakingly recovered. Before this, she had thought of countless possibilities in her mind. There were countless guesses, but no matter what, she didn't expect it to be Annie. How is this possible? It can't be my little cutie Annie. Feng Xiaoxiao was a little agitated as she snatched the phone from Lu Tingxiao's hand and replayed the video. However, no matter how many times they watched it, that face was still incomparably familiar. It was the little sister that they all doted on, Annie. Fuck. Boss, is this fucking surveillance reliable or not? Tang Lang grabbed his head of mixed hair in annoyance. Lu Tingxiao didn't say anything, but his expression had already answered this question. He had personally watched this surveillance from the beginning to the end. It took the experts nearly half a month to restore it, so there was absolutely no mistake. Just when Ning Shi and the others were shocked by this result, their minds were in a mess. With a ding sound, the elevator door at the end of the corridor opened and a series of footsteps came from afar. Brother Shi, a cute little girl wearing a garden print cotton dress, called Ning Shi crisply when she saw her from afar. Then, she ran in the direction of Ning Shi and the others with light footsteps. The moment she saw Annie, Ning Shi's back suddenly stiffened. Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao's expressions abruptly changed. Tang Lang subconsciously took a step forward and stood in front of Ning Shi, adopting a defensive stance. Annie probably noticed that Ning Shi's attitude was not right. She suspiciously stopped 3 steps away from Ning Shi, and her clear eyes were a little hesitant. Brother Shi, Brother Yi, Sister Xiaoxiao? What happened? By the way, Brother Shi, who's sick? Tang Lang and Feng Xiaoxiao exchanged glances without saying a word. Tang Yi pursed his lips, not knowing what to say. For a moment, no one spoke, and the corridor fell into a strange silence. In the end, Lu Tingxiao took the phone back from the dumbfounded Feng Xiaoxiao and walked over to Annie, handing the phone to her. Mr. Lu? Annie took the phone suspiciously, then looked down at it subconsciously. His phone was playing the surveillance footage of the morgue in the hospital. When Annie looked down, she happened to see the face of the man in black after he turned around. Almost at this moment, the aura of this lively and adorable little girl in front of him changed in a split second. It was clearly still that immature and innocent face, but the innocence between his brows had instantly faded, turning into a bone-chilling coldness. That pair of clean and clear eyes were covered with a layer of cold and gloomy light. A treacherous aura with killing intent gushed out from within, covering the sky and covering the earth. This narrow and spacious corridor was instantly filled with a vicious aura. Chapter 21-22. Looking at Annie's change, Tang Lang, Feng Xiaoxiao, and Tang Yi all subconsciously activated their nerves and defense systems. It was an instinctive reaction when they encountered a top master and their lives were threatened. And this terrifying sense of danger, they actually felt it from the weak and harmless Annie, who didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. At this moment, the phone screen in Annie's hand had been crushed and it was pitch black. The girl's indifferent eyes fell on Lu Tingxiao, and she said, "The current leader of the Lu family is indeed not to be underestimated. He was actually able to do something that was basically impossible." She was confident that no one could see through the flaws in this surveillance video, let alone fix it. But now it was actually exposed, and at this time, Ning Shi, Tang Lang, and the others were even more shocked when they saw Annie's completely different expression and her words. Did she admit it? The person in the surveillance video was really her. Behind Tang Lang and the others, Yunshin slowly walked out of the shadows. "I really didn't expect my little you to be so mysterious." She had actually deceived all of them. Ning, she didn't know how she came back to her senses. She used all her strength to take a deep breath and ask the question she was most concerned about at the moment. "Annie, did you poison Xiaobao?" "Yes," the girl admitted without hesitation. The moment he finished speaking, the few of them were stunned. Seeing that there was not much time left, Ning, she didn't want to ask about the cause and effect for the time being. She asked directly, "What will make you give me the antidote?" Annie's face was cold. "Ning Shi, this has nothing to do with you." Ning, she clenched her fists and said excitedly, "How can it have nothing to do with me? I am Xiaobao's biological mother. You should know this the best, right?" Annie's face was still expressionless. "Then you should also know that this child should have died a long time ago. I let him live to this day. Now, I'm just taking back what I gave him." Ning Shi's body trembled and she couldn't speak. Indeed, Xiaobao had been declared dead by the doctor and placed in the morgue. At that time, Annie should have taken Xiaobao away and saved him. Since you saved Xiaobao, why did you poison him? Ningxi asked. I told you, this has nothing to do with you, Annie repeated. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao pulled Ningxi behind him and stepped forward, saying, since it's between you and the Lu family, I'm the head of the Lu family. You could take revenge on me. Why do you have to make things difficult for an innocent girl? Judging from Annie's attitude, this grudge was probably between her and the Lus. Hearing this, Annie didn't know why, but her cold face was suddenly tainted with a slightly crazy smile. Ha! Innocent! Your son is innocent. Isn't my brother Xianxia innocent too? If I let him go, who will let my brother Xianxia go? At the last sentence, the murderous aura around Annie suddenly increased. Brother Xianxia, Ningxi, Tanglang, and the others fell into deep thought when they heard Annie's words. Even Lu Tingxiao hadn't heard of this name before. Who was this Xianxia that Annie mentioned? Only Yun Shun's eyes changed imperceptibly when he heard the name Annie said. He seemed to recall a distant memory and murmured the name. Xianxia, Yun Xianxia? Chapter 21-23. With that, his sharp gaze landed on Annie. Could it be that you are? Annie smiled coldly. That's right, I am. At this moment, Tang Lang, who was listening at the side, was about to go crazy. What kind of riddle were these two playing? Who was Annie? Who was Yun Xianxia? He had the same surname as Satan. Were they related in some way? Tang Yi muttered. Yun Xianxia seems to be the grandson of the Yun family's patriarch, Yun Jie, Satan's cousin. At the same time, Yun Shen looked at Annie and said confidently, You're Yun Xianxia's sworn sister, Luo Ling. Annie didn't deny it. She chuckled and looked at Lu Tingxiao coldly. Everyone from back then is dead. Now, only the Lu family is left. You're all going to die with my big brother Xianxia. Ha, innocent? I want everyone in the Lu clan to have a taste of what it feels like to watch your loved ones die in front of you and be powerless to do anything about it. Lu Tingxiao quickly pieced together what happened back then from the fragmented memories of the feud between the Lu and Yun families. If I remember correctly, the Yun family wanted to use Yun Xianxia's death as an opportunity to ally with the other two families to deal with the Lu family. But after the investigation, we found out that Yun Xianxia's death had nothing to do with the Lu family. The word nothing ignited Annie's anger. Nothing to do with it. If it wasn't for the Lu family, if it wasn't for you, Lu Tingxiao, big brother Xianxia wouldn't have died. Back then, the patriarch sent me to assassinate you. I rejected the mission, so he killed Xianxia. He told me that Xianxia died in your hands. He thought that I would go after you for revenge. If it wasn't for you, big brother Xianxia wouldn't have died. Annie repeated these words. Ningxi's mind raced as she processed everything. She frowned and said, That's why the Yin family and the Lu family are enemies. In order to deal with the Lu family, the Yin family sent someone to assassinate the patriarch of the Lu family, Lu Tingxiao. But you rejected the mission because you knew that it would involve selling your body. In order to force you to submit, and also to have an opportunity to start a war, the Yun family patriarch did not hesitate to kill his own grandson, Yun Xianxia, and then pushed all the blame onto the Lu family. But then you found out the truth. At this point, Ningxi's mind had already sorted out the ins and outs of the situation. Since you already know that Yun Xianxia wasn't killed by the Lu family, why are you still venting your anger on the Lu family and even on Xiaobao? Yun Shen's eyes flickered when he heard Ningxi's words. The atmosphere suddenly turned gloomy. Is this reason hard to understand? Because they all deserve to die. Everyone involved in her death deserves to die. Ningxi was surprised to see Yun Shen speak for Annie. Who was the she that Yun Shen mentioned? He was probably not referring to Yun Xianxia, right? Yun Shen looked at Annie and smiled. I see. No wonder little fishy would stay by my side and secretly help me. So, we're both in the same boat. She frowned slightly. She had just sorted this out, but her mind was in a mess again. Why was Yunshin involved again? Why did he drag Yunshin into this? The corner of Yunshan's mouth curled into a mocking smile. That old fellow Xianxia loves disgusting dramas like assassination the most. What's the big deal about sacrificing an insignificant grandson? Even if it's his only daughter, he can still send her to his opponent's bed. Chapter 21-24. Hearing this, Ningxi was shocked. She immediately thought of the grudge between Yunshin's mother, Yunlan, and Lu Chongshan. Could it be that Yunshin's mother had such a relationship with Lu Chongshan? Yunshin's mother had the same fate as Annie. She had been sent by Xianxia to assassinate the Lu family, but the target was Lu Chongshan. You're much smarter than that silly woman. Yunshin glanced at Lu Tingxiao with a faint smile. That silly woman lost her body, her heart, and her life, but you killed everyone. Previously, I couldn't figure out who was the one who destroyed the Yun family. Who was the one who did it before me? So it was you. You poisoned the Yuns, didn't you? Ningxi finally understood. No wonder Yunshin said he knew this poison. Also, the foolish woman that Yunshin mentioned was probably his mother, Yunlan. Yunlan's mother must have loved Lu Chongshan wholeheartedly. Otherwise, she wouldn't have given birth to Yunshin. But Lu Chongshan, as the head of the Lu family, was willing to sacrifice anything for the family's interests. If he found out Yunlan's identity, she could almost imagine the tragedy that would follow. Annie didn't deny it at all. She just looked at Yunshin coldly. You betrayed your faith. Upon hearing this, Yunshin instantly laughed out loud. Ha! Faith? What's my faith? Just like you, I killed everyone who was related to this matter. Indeed, he had once been like Annie. Even though he knew that his mother had died in the hands of his grandfather and was killed by his family as a disgrace. However, when he finally gathered his strength and wanted to take revenge, he found that the Yun family had been destroyed overnight. From then on, killing Lu Chongshan and destroying the Lu family had become the only meaningful thing for him to live on, until Yunshin's eyes fell on the girl next to Lu Tingxiao, but it was only for a moment. The man quickly retracted his gaze and looked at Annie again, saying, Previously, you were helping me by my side because we had a common enemy. But now that I'm working with my enemy, Lu Tingxiao, are you turning to Qiaoyi? Tang Lang looked surprised. Was Annie the one who saved Xiao Yi? Meanwhile, Tang Yi, Feng Xiao and the others were also dumbfounded. He had never imagined that what had happened to Xiaobao back then would involve so many people, and even the grievances between two generations. Yunshin's mother, Lu Chongshan, Qiao Yi, Annie, Lu Tingxiao, Yunshin's. Suddenly, an alarm sounded in the ward. The young nurse rushed out in panic. Oh no, the patient suddenly went into shock. I'll call the doctor. Xiaobao. Ningxi's face suddenly changed, and she immediately rushed into the ward with Lu Tingxiao. Whatever, look at the antidote first. Tang Lang's face was filled with killing intent as he stared at Annie's direction. I don't care why you are doing this. If you have any grudges, just fight it out in the open. Using such a despicable method to make things difficult for a child. What kind of man are you? After Tang Lang finished speaking, he realized that Annie didn't seem to be a man either. However, he couldn't care less. He continued, hand over the antidote now, or don't blame me for being rude. Annie chuckled. I wonder, how are you going to treat me? Chapter 21-25. Feng Xiao advised. Annie, stop being stubborn and hand over the antidote. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave today. Annie's indifferent gaze swept towards Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiao. She suddenly sneered. Just the three of you small fries? Why don't you come at me together? Together? Small fries. Fuck, little brat. You're really daring. Tang Lang was so angry that he almost laughed. She was looking down on him too much. Even if Annie was an expert, and he could feel the familiar aura from her, it was still too arrogant for her to say such words. Seeing that Xiaobao was being treated and the situation was getting more and more dangerous, Tang Lang couldn't be bothered anymore and immediately attacked Annie. In the next second, there was a loud bang. Tang Lang was slapped against the wall behind him. Tang Lang clutched his chest in pain. Fuck, one move to kill him? Feng Xiao and Tang Ye's expressions changed, and it took them a few seconds to react before they attacked as well. In the end, the battle ended in less than 10 seconds. Feng Xiao spat out a mouthful of blood, and even Tang Yi clutched his chest as he took 3 steps back. Tang Lang's eyeballs almost popped out. Fuck, what the fuck? How is that possible? This didn't make sense. The 3 of them had guessed that Annie was skilled, but they didn't expect her to be this strong. She defeated Tang Yi, Tang Lang, and Feng Xiao in less than 10 seconds. What kind of concept was that? When Ningxi came out, the first thing she saw was Tang Yi, Tang Lang, and Feng Xiao losing to Annie even though they had joined hands. Her expression instantly changed. No one here could do anything to Annie. What about Xiaobao's antidote? Ningxi felt a burning pain in her chest because of her anxiety. She quickly said, Annie, you said this has nothing to do with me. Fine, I don't care about your grudge with the Liu family, but Xiaobao is my son. I can't just watch him die. This is a matter between the 2 of us. What do I have to do for you to hand over the antidote? Annie replied, You want the antidote? Sure. Just as Ningxi's eyes lit up, she heard Annie say, Defeat me. Tang Lang held onto his chest, which was burning with pain, and cursed in a low voice, Fuck, what's the difference between you saying it and not saying it? She clenched her hands into fists. Good. Defeat you? I'll fight you. Tang Lang exclaimed, Little junior sister, you're crazy. Lu Tingxiao's face changed slightly. Xiaoxi, Yinshan also frowned. There was no warmth in Annie's eyes. You're no match for me. She slowly took off her coat and threw on the ground. How would you know if you don't try? Annie remained silent and stared at her for 3 seconds. Then she finally said, All right then, take 3 strikes from me. If you can still stand up after these 3 strikes, I'll give you the antidote. Ningxi, okay. Tang Lang immediately exclaimed, Fuck! Tangxi, you're courting death. She almost killed me with 1 slap, and your small body will be smashed into pieces by 1 slap. Lu Tingxiao's face darkened. Xiaoxi, don't mess around. Lu Tingxiao, I'm sorry, but I can't listen to you this time. Ningxi looked at the man in front of her very seriously. You know, this is the only way. Xiaobao was in danger, and Annie could leave at any time, and none of them could stop her. Chapter 21-26. After saying that, Ningxi took a deep look at Xiaobao through the glass window and walked straight to Annie. Let's start. You're courting death. Ningxi had just stood still when Yinshan pulled her back. Ningxi fought back and broke free from Yinshan's shackles. Get out of my way. Fuck. Yinshan was so angry that he almost died. He looked at Lu Tingxiao with fire in his eyes. Do you still care? Lu Tingxiao pursed his thin lips and his face darkened. Xiaoxi. The man was about to speak, but was interrupted by Ningxi. Lu Tingxiao, don't make me hate you. Lu Tingxiao's face turned pale, and he couldn't say a word. Then Ningxi glanced at everyone present. No one is allowed to make a move. She was running out of time. Then she looked at Annie and said, Annie, let's start. Okay. Annie walked up to the girl step by step and threw a punch at Ning. She is fast as lightning. Puff! Ningxi was sent flying several meters away like a kite with a broken string. She hit the cold wall and spat out a mouthful of blood. Junior sister, Xiaoxi. Everyone cried out in alarm. Ningxi stretched out her hand and stopped everyone from coming forward. I'm fine. Tang Lang was going crazy. Fuck! How could you be fine? He had been hit by Annie's punch and knew how strong she was. Go on. She hobbled up to Annie. Bang! She hit her again. This time, she was knocked to the ground. She was motionless and blood dripped from her mouth onto the cold ground. She used all the strength in her body to force herself to a kneeling position and then stood up shakily. However, it seemed that her body would collapse in the next second. She couldn't take the 3rd punch. She would really die. Idiot. Are you fucking crazy? Yinshin couldn't bear it anymore and rushed straight to Ning Shi. Ning Shi said harshly, Lu Tingxiao, stop him. Almost as soon as Ning Shi spoke, Lu Tingxiao stopped Yinshin, who was about to rush over. Yinshin looked at the man in front of him incredulously. Fuck, she's crazy. Are you crazy too? Lu Tingxiao stood in front of Yinshin like a stone statue that had been weathered for 10,000 years. He was motionless and looked indestructible, but in fact he seemed to be about to shatter into powder in the next second. While Lu Tingxiao was blocking Yinshin, Ning Shi dragged her heavy steps back to Annie. The last palm. Annie didn't say anything. She just stared at Ning Shi. After some time, Annie finally said, Okay. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao were already prepared to stop them at all costs. Finally, Annie made her move. Her palm, which seemed to carry the force of a thunderbolt, rapidly flew towards Ning Shi. On the other hand, Tang Lang and the others noticed that the speed of that palm was simply too swift, and they were actually already unable to block it in time. Thus, he could only watch as Ning Shi took the blow. The entire corridor of the hospital was dead silent. However, in the next second, what they had expected did not happen. Ning Shi actually didn't fall after such a blow. Annie's palm was pressed against Ning Shi's chest. If one looked closely, they would find that it seemed that she had hit Ning Shi, but in fact there was an extremely small distance between them, and it didn't hit her. Chapter 21-27. Under everyone's gaze, Annie slowly retracted her palm. She didn't hit Ning Shi. Ning Shi, you saved me. I've repaid your kindness. If there's a next time, Annie's eyes shone with cold light, and her killing intent was terrifying. At the same time, a small medicine pouch fell from her palm. Ning Shi subconsciously stretched out her hand, and the small medicine pouch fell into her palm. Ning Shi stared at the small medicine pouch blankly. This is, Annie sneered. Don't get me wrong. This is not the antidote. It's just a temporary medicine. Then she turned around and left. Ning Shi was stunned for a moment, and then shouted behind her, If someone can defeat you, will you really hand over the antidote? Since I said it, I will keep my word. With that, Annie's figure disappeared at the end of the hallway. Almost at the moment when Annie left, Ning Shi was like a collapsed high-rise building, falling backwards with a loud bang. She fell into the arms of a man who made her want to cry. Ning Shi raised her head and smiled at the man whose face was extremely gloomy. Sweetheart, thank you. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl in his arms, and his body trembled uncontrollably. He wanted nothing more than to strangle her to death, but he held her carefully, as if he was hugging a pile of bubbles that would burst at the slightest touch. Just this once. Okay. The girl nodded obediently. She didn't have the same imposing manner as before. She knew that she couldn't take Annie's 3 strikes, but she was betting that Annie wouldn't kill her. Fortunately, she won the bet. Fortunately, Lu Tingxiao believed her. Yinshin almost cursed. A pair of lunatics. By the way, give it to Xiaobao. Ning Shi hurried to the ward. Tang Lang hurriedly took the small medicine pouch from Ning Shi's hand. Grandpa Shi, I'll call you Grandpa. Don't bother. Let me do it. I really have to give it to you. Hearing Tang Lang calling her Grandpa, Ning Shi's eyes flickered and she slowly took out a silver whistle from her pocket. Maybe this is Xiaobao's only chance. Yin Shun glanced at the whistle with his peripheral vision. This is that goo whistle? What is a goo whistle? Ning Shi did not understand. There's a type of goo insect inside this whistle. One of the whistles has a child insect inside it. The whistle has been specially designed to wake up the child insect after blowing it into the air. It will then send a message to the mother insect, letting the mother insect know the location of the child insect. Yinshin explained and then looked disdainful. This kind of old thing has not been used for 800 years. If you have the time to design this damn thing, you might as well buy a locator. Ningxi didn't know what to say. However, this thing was not only a whistle to her, but also an important keepsake. It represented a favor and a life for Han Xiao. Finally, this time, Ningxi personally blew that whistle. Then, She finally lost all her strength and fell into a coma. When Ningxi woke up, it was already the next morning. His entire body was aching. Ouch! It hurts. Tang Lang was sitting on the opposite sofa and eating an apple. When he heard the movements on the sickbed, he curled his lips in annoyance and said, "What are you howling for?" Feng Xiaoxiao had 2 broken bones, eldest senior brother had 3 broken bones, and I had 6 broken bones. You haven't even broken a single bone. He didn't even sustain any internal injuries. Just a little blood in his lungs. I haven't howled yet. What are you howling for? Hearing this, Ningxi touched her chest, and her eyes warmed. Chapter 21-28. The more Tang Lang spoke, the angrier he got. Fuck. Why? Why did eldest senior brother break 3? Feng Xiaoxiao break 2? We didn't break a single one, but I broke so many. How did she rank the number of broken bones? I've always treated her very well. Okay? This little girl is too biased. Tang Lang had an expression of extreme heartache and grievance. Ningxi looked at Tang Lang speechlessly. Did this guy have to be so biased? How is Xiaobao? Ningxi asked. Don't worry. He's stable for now. All right, Grandpa is here too. He's with Xiaobao now. Tang Lang said. Great God is here. I want to go over. Ningxi hurriedly got up. In Xiaobao's ward. When Ningxi and Tang Lang went over, Han Xiao was examining Xiaobao. Seeing Han Xiao's focused expression, Ningxi didn't disturb him. Han Xiao felt Xiaobao's pulse and examined all parts of his body. Then, a disdainful expression appeared on his face. It's actually the method of Emperor Qin's bloodline. You guys must have offended the descendants of Emperor Qin's bloodline, but they're really getting more and more despicable. They're cruel to a child. Great God, do you know what poison Xiaobao was poisoned with? Ningxi hurriedly asked. Although Yunshen had heard of this poison before, he didn't know its origin. This poison came from one of the ancient martial families, the Qin family's secret poison. Han Xiao replied, Great God, do you have a way to cure it? Han Xiao shook his head. There's no way. I've said it before. I only know how to deal with external injuries. Moreover, the poison in this little guy's body was planted when he was born. It has already penetrated deep into his bone marrow. Moreover, the poison in his body is not exactly the same as the poison I know. It has been mutated. Even if I find you the antidote for that poison, it will be useless. Only the person who poisoned him can cure it. How could this be? Ningxi immediately fell into despair. Han Xiao revealed a suspicious expression. Strange, I took a look just now. Under normal circumstances, the poison in this little guy's body should have acted up 2 years ago. Why is it delayed until now? I don't know either. Ningxi was confused. Lu Tingxiao stretched out his hand and handed Han Xiao a small sachet. Is it because of this? When Ningxi saw that sachet, she revealed a surprised expression. Is it the sachet that Annie gave to Xiaobao 2 years ago? Lu Tingxiao nodded. Yes. Han Xiao placed the sachet in front of his nose and sniffed it. Then he narrowed his eyes and said, It is indeed because of this. This sachet is the same thing as the one used to alleviate Xiaobao's poison. However, it has already lost its efficacy due to the passage of time. The reason why Xiaobao's poison had been delayed for 2 years was now known. But Ningxi had a new question. Why did Annie deliberately leave this sachet to alleviate Xiaobao's poison? Maybe it's because it's not time to make a move yet. Tang Lang speculated. Ningxi fell silent and began to recall the scene when Annie first came to the capital to see her. At first, when Annie found out about her relationship with Lu Tingxiao, she showed great rejection towards Lu Tingxiao. She even warned her that it was not easy to be a stepmother and advised her not to be with Lu Tingxiao. Later on, when he saw that she really liked Lu Tingxiao and Xiaobao, and that Xiaobao was so cute, he changed his attitude and even gave Xiaobao this sachet. Chapter 21-29. Even though Annie's identity shocked her, they had been together for so long, Ningxi didn't believe that Annie didn't have any feelings for them. This was also the reason why she dared to take the risk. When Annie suddenly helped Xiao Bao to relieve the poison, was it because she found out that she was with Lu Tingxiao that she wavered? She had no way of knowing. The most important thing now was to get the antidote. Ningxi took a deep breath and looked at Han Xiao. God, this time I may have to ask you for a favor. Tang Lang took the opportunity to come over. Grandpa, let me tell you, that woman is amazing. Damn, I was KO'd by her, and 6 ribs were broken. That woman said before she left that she would give the antidote to whoever could defeat her. Grandpa, this time it's all up to you. Ningxi also shot Han Xiao a look. Almighty, can I? Han Xiao heard this and felt a little bored. You use that whistle, I will naturally agree to any request you make, but it's boring to let me deal with some trash every time. Trash? Damn it, 6 of his ribs were broken, okay? And he was trash. Then what was he? Useless trash. Trash number 1, Tang Yi. Trash number 2, Tang Lang. Trash number 3, Feng Xiao. Tang Lang immediately retorted, she's not trash, she's really powerful. Big senior brother, 3rd junior sister, and I couldn't beat her. I think her martial arts level may even be on the same level as you. Han Zhao's eyes twitched. A bloodthirsty luster appeared in his eyes. In this world, I'm afraid the same level as me hasn't been born yet. There are only 3 of you. How are you different from ants? I can crush you with 1 finger. After saying that, Han Xiao yawned, and his eyes fell on the KFC Deluxe family bucket that Ning she had prepared. Tang Lang, Tang Yi, Feng Xiao, damn it, I really want to beat him up. I just can't beat her. Just as they were discussing when to fight Annie, a series of hurried footsteps came from the door of the ward. Lu Jingli and a deputy of Yinshan Company rushed over at the same time, panting. Lu Jingli said anxiously, Brother, bad news. Take a look at the group shares. Yinshan's deputy hurriedly said, Boss, our side has also plummeted. For a moment, a stagnant atmosphere spread in the ward. Lu Jingli then said, Byron Rosher just contacted me and them at the same time, asking us to meet. They came with ill intentions. Tang Lang directly said, So be it. We have so many people here, and the Almighty is also here. What's there to be afraid of? Let's see what those bastards are up to. After Lu Jingli finished speaking, he coughed lightly and said, Also, the person who sent the message was Annie. Ning Shi and the others were silent for a few seconds. Although they had already guessed that Annie had teamed up with Xiao, Yi, and Lucky Queen, it was still a little hard to believe when they heard it with their own ears. Chapter 21:30. The power of Europe's emperor had finally surfaced. The Rochester family was one of the oldest families in Europe. Its origins could be traced back to the Middle Ages in Western Europe. Since the 17th century, every family leader of the Rochester family had the title of Emperor of Europe. The family was in charge of most of the underground dynasties in Europe, and they were also the masterminds of some war-torn countries. The Rochester family was very mysterious. Even today, in the era of the media, there was no news about the Rochester family. Not to mention ordinary people, even some forces with powerful backgrounds might not have heard of the Rocher family. However, the Rochester family was like a towering mountain that couldn't be crossed. Even Lu Tingxiao did not have any dealings with the Rochelle clan. Annie, Feng Xiao sighed. She didn't know what to say. Lu Jingli's expression was solemn. It's obvious that Rochester is up to no good this time. There was no emotion in Lu Tingxiao's eyes. Address: Sky Spring Villa, Lu Jingli replied. Lu Jingli had investigated the matter when he received the news. The entire Sky Spring Villa had been booked by someone. There were no traces left, and he couldn't find out who it was. However, it was obvious that the Rochester family had booked the entire Sky Spring Villa. They only invited people from both sides, Lu Jingli continued. After all, as long as the Lu Group and Elon Ventures fell, the Rochester family would be invincible in Asia. They wouldn't care about the small fries. What are you afraid of? We'll kill them all if we can't do it. Tang Lang snorted. Tang Lang's real plan was to drag Han Xiao along with him. Even if it was a Hongmin banquet, there was nothing to be afraid of. Before Lu Jingli could speak, His cell phone rang as if it was urging him to die. Lu Group's big boy company, as well as many people in charge of the listed companies that cooperated with Lu Group, had been ringing off the hook. Everyone was unsure of the economic impact this time and was anxious to see Lu Tingxiao. The situation in Yunshan was similar. While Lu Tingxiao and Yunshan were discussing the details, Ningxi and Tang Lang looked at each other and then dragged Han Xiao to a corner, one on each side. What for? Han Xiao hugged the KFC luxurious family bucket, his mouth glistening with grease. He was somewhat dissatisfied that Ningxi and Tang Lang had disturbed his meal. Tang Lang rubbed his hands together. Grandpa, let's go to Sky Spring Villa to eat tonight. What's so good about these things? Why are you afraid of the Rochester clan? Han Xiao glanced at the two of them. Their little thoughts couldn't be hidden from him. Hee, with Grandpa here, wouldn't I feel more confident? Tang Lang had a flattering smile on his face. Han Xiao sneered coldly, and a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. Of course I'll go. It's rare that the Rothschild family is willing to step out of their nest. It was time to settle the old and new grudges between Han Xiao and the Rothschild family. Back then, Qin Yu's death was closely related to the Rothschild clan. This was an old grudge. All these years, the Rothschild family had been afraid of Han Zhao's revenge, so they had sent out countless assassins to assassinate him. This could be considered a new enemy. Grandfather, do you have a grudge against the Rothschild clan? Tang Lang noticed something unusual from Han Zhao's expression. Chapter 21:31. Did you forget that the Rothschild family once sent assassins to assassinate the master? Ningxi reminded him. Tang Lang suddenly realized that when they were in Deer Town, the master was heavily injured because he was ambushed by the people they sent. Even Ningxi was not sure about Han Zhao's past, much less Tang Lang. The only thing they were sure of was that Han Xiao had a grudge against the Rothschild family. However, as for what kind of grudge would make the Rothschild family keep sending assassins to kill Han Xiao, this was a little thought-provoking. However, from what Ningxi and Tang Lang thought, Han Xiao must have offended the Rothschild family before. After all, someone like Han Xiao who liked to stir up trouble and would find others to spar with when he was bored was actually a violent personality. It was not strange that he had offended the Rothschild family before. However, this was undoubtedly a good thing for them. After all, Ningxi's whistle had been used to ask Han Xiao to help defeat Annie and get the antidote. As for the Rothschild family, Ningxi could not ask Han Xiao anymore. With grandfather here, who cares if it's a banquet? Just eat and drink as usual. Tang Lang was completely relieved. Well, I'm going to kill someone, Han Xiao smiled. When he saw Han Xiao smile, Tang Lang could not help but shudder. It was the first time he and Ningxi had seen Han Xiao smile like this. It was extremely strange, like the calm before the storm. When Lu Tingxiao was done with everything, the sky was already dark. It was close to the appointed time with the Rothschild family. Lu Tingxiao looked at Ningxi and said, "You stay." It was rare for Yunshan to agree with Lu Tingxiao. The woman stays at home. Don't cause trouble. Even in China, the Rothschild family was very scary. This was obviously a banquet, so Lu Tingxiao obviously did not want her to take the risk. "No, I'll go too," Ningxi said with a determined gaze. How could she let Lu Tingxiao face danger alone? In fact, tonight, Annie would definitely come too. Little Treasure's antidote had not been obtained yet, so how could she not worry? It's too dangerous, Lu Tingxiao frowned. Ningxi put her hands together. "I promise this time, I'll be obedient. I'll listen to whatever you say. Okay?" "No." Lu Tingxiao's tone was firm. Ningxi's bright and beautiful eyes suddenly became misty. In the next second, her tears fell and she threw herself into Lu Tingxiao's embrace. Her little face stuck to his chest, and her tone was extremely pitiful. "But I'll be worried about you. If I stay here alone, every minute and every second is torture for me. Darling, let me go with you, okay?" Lu Tingxiao replied, "Okay." Yunshan immediately bristled. "Hey, fuck, can't you have some principles? This damned lass was clearly acting. Was this guy blind to not see through it? Ningxi was actually a little confused. Her sweetheart was really too cute. She had not even used 10% of her skills, and he had already agreed. Lu Tingxiao reminded him sternly, "Remember what you said. No matter what happens, don't act rashly." He knew that once Ningxi had made a decision, no one could change it. Moreover, he had already secretly made arrangements for this appointment and made thorough preparations. Ningxi nodded extremely obediently. MMM. Don't worry, grandfather and the Rothschild family have a grudge. This time we'll go with you. Let's just wait and watch the show. Tang Lang looked smug. When they heard that, Feng Xiaoxiao and Tang Yi secretly sighed in relief. With Han Xiao around, they felt more confident. Chapter 21:32. Half an hour later, Lu Tingxiao and the others arrived at the Sky Spring Villa. The Sky Spring Villa looked the same as usual, but in fact, it was already under the control of the Rothschild family. Under the calm surface, there was a turbulent undercurrent. "Mr. Lu, Mr. Yun, please." Outside the villa, an old man with an Asian face immediately recognized them and led them into the villa. "Make yourselves at home." The old man led them into the villa and left. In the middle of the elegant little garden, there were 2 round tables filled with all kinds of delicacies. Han Xiao stared at the table full of delicacies. Without any hesitation, he randomly picked a table and began to eat and drink. "Master, don't eat it. What if it's poisonous?" Feng Xiaoxiao said hurriedly. Han Xiao was the main force this time. If he was poisoned to death because of his greed, how could they explain it? "Don't worry. Since Grandpa dares to eat it, it must not be poisonous." Tang Lang was inexplicably confident in Han Xiao. Han Xiao looked like an idiot with 0 life skills, but in fact, he was very meticulous. Han Xiao and Tang Lang ate happily, but Feng Xiaoxiao and Tang Yi insisted on staying put. It was better to be safe. Han Xiao, Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao sat at one table. Ningxi, Lu Tingxiao, Yin Shun, and Lu Jingli sat at the other table. Lu Jingli looked around, puzzled. That's it. He didn't see anything special about the Sky Spring Villa. Even the Rothschild family didn't show up. What the hell were they doing? While he was puzzled, a flurry of footsteps came from afar. "Mr. Yinshin, Mr. Lu, I'm glad you came. It's my honor." Accompanied by extremely fluent Chinese, the man walked out of the villa like stars surrounding the moon and walked to the table where Lu Tingxiao and Yunshin were sitting. The man had a standard Western face. He was dressed luxuriously and had a gentle smile on his face. However, there was a trace of malice hidden in his light blue eyes. Around the man were some solemn men and women in formal wear. They seemed to be the top management and elite team of the company. "Don't stand on ceremony. Please take a seat." The man sat down on the main seat and greeted them with a smile. With that, he looked at Ningxi in a gentlemanly manner and said, "You must be Mrs. Lu? She is indeed a beauty, just like the rumors say." Ningxi blinked her eyes. Except for her typical smile, she didn't say a word and stayed by Lu Tingxiao's side, pretending to be obedient. At the next table, Tang Lang, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao exchanged glances and maintained their vigilance. As for a certain Almighty, as usual, he didn't even lift his head. "Are you the lucky emperor?" Yin Shin stared at the man for a moment and smiled thoughtfully. "I didn't know that the head of the Rothschild family in Europe would be so young." He was obviously doubting the identity of the man in front of him. The man didn't mind. He smiled and replied politely, "Mr. Yun, it's not like that. The European emperor is just a title passed down. I'm not the European emperor. Everyone is here." "Third young master, please speak your mind," Lu Tingxiao said indifferently. Hearing Lu Tingxiao say, "third young master," the man's light blue eyes suddenly showed a trace of surprise. Chapter 21:33. The head of the Lu family was indeed not simple. No news about the Rothschild family had ever been spread, and no one had ever seen the children of the European emperor. However, the man in front of him was able to find out his true identity. Huh, Mr. Liu is indeed well informed. The man smiled. What's your purpose? Lu Tingxiao went straight to the point. The man said politely, Mr. Liu, Mr. Yun, I asked you to come here today because I have something to discuss with you. Let's hear it. Yun Shun said casually. The man didn't care about Yun Shun's attitude. He wiped his hands with a napkin and said, I hope to acquire Lu Group and Elon Ventures. As soon as the man finished speaking, a European woman walked over to Lu Tingxiao and Yun Shun with two thick documents and gently placed them on the table in front of them. This is the preliminary contract. Mr. Yun and Mr. Liu can take a look first. We'll talk if you have any questions or dissatisfaction, the man said with a smile. Yun Shin glanced at the two contracts and sneered. Ha! Acquiring Lu Group and Elon Ventures. How arrogant. Aren't you afraid of dying? Lu Tingxiao didn't speak. Instead, he picked up the contract and quickly flipped through it. Then, he put it down and said expressionlessly, Sorry, I'm afraid I can't agree to your proposal. The man wasn't surprised by Lu Tingxiao and Yun Shin's rejection. He smiled and said, Mr. Liu, is it because the conditions aren't good enough? Actually, it's fine. This is just the preliminary contract. We can continue to discuss. Mr. Liu, feel free to ask for anything. Lu Tingxiao looked at the man with his emotionless eyes. Then, Lu Jingli walked out from behind Lu Tingxiao and took out two contracts. He said with a smile, Mr. Byron, why don't you take a look at the contract we've prepared? The man only glanced at the contents of the contract before his expression suddenly changed, and a dark light flashed in his eyes. These two small fries who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth actually wanted to buy his company? They were obviously humiliating him. Mr. Liu, Mr. Yun, I came all the way to Asia just to acquire Lu Group and Elon Ventures. Your attitude puts me in a difficult position. As soon as he finished speaking, the gentlemanly look on Byron Rosher's face disappeared, and his eyes turned cold. Oh, what do you want then? Deep Cloud sneered. The man's eyes were cold. I just want the two of you to sign the contract. Otherwise, I'm afraid the two of you won't be able to walk out of this heavenly spring manor. Yinshin laughed out loud. Do you believe that you won't be able to leave China? A thought-provoking sneer appeared on the man's face. So what if I'm in China? At this time, Han Xiao, who had been burying his head in food, licked the corner of his mouth and raised his head to look at Byron as he faintly said, It's nothing much. It's a pity that your father didn't come. I'm a little disappointed, Han Xiao. Byron stared blankly after seeing the person sitting in the corner of the neighboring table. He hadn't expected Cold Owl to be there, and his complexion finally changed. The only people he cared about here were Yinshen and Lu Tingxiao. He didn't pay much attention to the others. Who knew that Lu Tingxiao and Yinshen could actually invite this devil? He already knew that Han Xiao was helping Lu Tingxiao, but he didn't expect that with Han Zhao's personality, he would intervene to this extent. Chapter 2134. Unfortunately, the last time he sent out Xiao Zhan, he still failed to assassinate Xiao Zhan. Instead, Xiao Zhan died in China. Byron's expression turned even uglier as he looked at Han Xiao, who had once again ruined his plans. Ha ha, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Are you excited? Tang Lang said smugly when he saw Byron's expression. Byron stared at Han Xiao with a gloomy expression and fell into silence. Well, it's rare that you guys are willing to come out. It saved me the trouble of going to Europe to look for you guys. Han Xiao stood up and yawned lazily. The corners of Byron's mouth curled up into a mocking sneer. Hee, I didn't expect Grandpa Xiao to have fallen to such a state. I'm being ordered around by two small fries. Back then, Grandpa Xiao claimed. Byron turned to look at Han Xiao. Just as he was rambling on, his lungs nearly exploded in the next second. Han Xiao didn't take him seriously at all. He was discussing with a group of people. Do you think his father will come out if we tie him up? Han Xiao stared at Tang Lang. God, that's not necessarily true. Tang Lang touched his chin. The European emperor has so many sons and daughters. I don't think so either. Feng Xiao also moved closer to Han Xiao. I agree. Tang Yi nodded. Then he's useless. Should we kill him or tie him up? Han Xiao looked troubled. She couldn't hold it in anymore. She went over to join the fun and suggested, "Why don't we tie him up first?" Tang Lang immediately said, "Grandpa, I think we should kill him and let him know how powerful Grandpa is." Feng Xiao said, "I agree with little junior sister. Why don't we tie him up and force the European emperor to come out?" Tang Yi said, "I'm fine with anything." Byron was so angry that he almost crushed his teeth. These people were actually discussing whether to tie him up or kill him in front of him. Who was he? He was the future European emperor. Han Xiao, don't be too confident. As Byron's gloomy voice fell, hundreds of well-trained and fully armed European emperor's forces surrounded the villa. Moreover, there were many snipers lying in ambush everywhere in the villa. After knowing that there was a sniper, the few of them immediately tensed up. These were not ordinary snipers. They were snipers specially trained by the Rochelle family. Apart from Han Xiao, who might be able to escape, every single one of them could kill them on the spot. Tang Yi, Tang Lang, Feng Xiao, and the others were on standby when a familiar voice rang out from behind them, causing their expressions to change. "Third young master, everything is ready." They saw Xiao Yi leading a group of well-trained killers towards them. These killers were almost all of Xiao Yi's elite troops. He had been waiting for this day. Ningxi looked behind Xiao Yi but did not see Annie. She could not help but frown. Annie didn't come? Or was he unwilling to face them head-on? For a time, the two sides confronted each other, and the atmosphere was tense to the extreme. It was obvious that Byron was determined to get the Lu Group and Elan Ventures. No matter what, he had to get them. If soft tactics didn't work, he would use hard tactics. "Master, long time no see." When Tang Lang saw Xiao Yi, his blood boiled and his expression darkened. Traitorous disciple. Xiao Yi snorted coldly when he saw Tang Lang. At this moment, Tang Lang's eyes were completely devoid of his usual carefree expression. There was not a trace of warmth in them. "Just as well, why don't we settle all our scores today?" Chapter 2135. Xiao Yi looked at Byron and lowered his head. "Third young master, I'm sorry for the embarrassment. I might have some family matters to settle first." Byron looked as if he had everything under control and said with a relaxed expression, "Mr. Xiao, feel free to do as you please." Xiao Yi looked at Tang Lang and his gaze turned cold. "Today I'm going to clean up the house." Tang Lang narrowed his eyes and looked at Xiao Yi from head to toe. He was sure that Xiao Yi's body had not suffered any damage from Lu Tingxiao's torture. He was afraid that it was all thanks to that last Annie. It just so happened that he did not want to take advantage of her. Tang Yi and Feng Xiao looked at each other with complicated expressions. They had been worried before they came, and now the thing they were most worried about had happened. Tang Lang and Xiao Yi clashed, both of them using their killer moves. Because they knew each other's moves too well, it was hard to tell who would win, and neither could do anything to the other. However, 10 minutes later, there was a clear change in the situation. It was as if Tang Lang had suddenly been released from a seal. He suddenly attacked fiercely, forcing Xiao Yi to have no chance to retaliate. She raised her eyebrows in surprise. Aren't those the Almighty's moves?" A rare look of admiration appeared in Han Zhao's eyes. "Not bad. You've learned a 10,000th of my essence." Ningxi, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiao were speechless. With a loud bang, Tang Lang's thunderous palm struck towards Xiao Yi's Achilles heel. Seeing that Xiao Yi would definitely die, a figure suddenly flashed between the two of them and forcefully caught Tang Lang's palm. In that instant, Tang Lang and Tang Yi both took a few steps back due to the recoil. Tang Lang's eyes were bloodshot. Seeing that his plan to kill Xiao Yi had been foiled by Tang Yi, his face was filled with madness and malevolence. "Get lost." Tang Yi threw his glasses away. "You know it's impossible. I'll say it one last time." "Why?" Tang Yi asked persistently. Why? Tang Lang suddenly looked deranged. "You killed my entire family and slaughtered my entire sect for him. Is this reason enough? Not only that, he had shamelessly taken him in as a disciple and made him work for the enemy who had killed his entire family. Tang Yi wasn't the only one who was stunned. Feng Xiaoxiao and Ning, she were also stunned. Master killed second senior brother's entire family? How is this possible? Ning, she glanced at Lu Tingxiao and saw the affirmative answer in his eyes. Back then, Tang Lang had asked Lu Tingxiao to investigate this matter. Tang Lang laughed uncontrollably. Tang Yi, why do you think I beat you every time? Do you really think I'm gifted? Because those martial arts were originally the secret arts of the Tang family. The blood of the Tang family flows in my veins. No one is more suitable for this cultivation technique than me. Tang Yi stood there with a pale face, unable to say a word. He looked at the man he had always respected as a father in disbelief. Master, she hoped that he could explain that it was a misunderstanding. However, even though Xiao Yi had been exposed in front of everyone, he did not feel the slightest bit guilty or remorseful. He did not even refute. He snorted coldly and said, that cultivation technique would only be a waste in the hands of that useless Tang Zhan. I left his bloodline and inherited his cultivation technique. You should be thanking me in the underworld. Tang Lang's eyes were bloodshot. Then you can go to the underworld to receive your thanks. Chapter 21:36. Evil creature, if I hadn't taken. Before Xiao Yi could finish his sentence, Han Xiao, who was standing to one side, suddenly walked past Tang Lang and stood in front of Xiao Yi. Hello, Han Xiao said with a sly smile. Xiao Yi was slightly taken aback when he saw the unfamiliar man in front of him. He knew of Han Xiao, but he had never seen him before, so he didn't recognize him. Before Xiao Yi could speak, the shadow of a palm suddenly flashed in front of him. Before the palm arrived, the wind from the palm arrived first, like a violent storm, causing Xiao Yi to turn pale. Xiao Yi didn't see when the man in front of him made his move, nor did he know what had happened. In an instant, the sound of a skull cracking could be heard. Blood flowed from Xiao Yi's eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Well, I greeted you, but you ignored me. I hate rude people the most. Apologize, Han Xiao said. I'm sorry, I hit you too hard. Han Xiao stared at Xiao Yi's body, his face full of innocence. Xiao Yi's body fell to the ground like a pile of mud. Even in death, Xiao Yi didn't know why. Was it because he was rude and didn't respond to this evil man in time? At this moment, Tang Lang, who had been acting like a madman, was completely stunned on the spot. My grandpa. Tang Lang gestured excitedly. Xiao, you should have died by his hand. That was logical. He had been brewing his emotions for so long. And just as he was about to fight Xiao, Han Xiao had killed Xiao Yi with one blow, making him feel like he had been fucked by a dog. But the moment Xiao Yi died by Han Xiao's hand, he subconsciously felt relieved. If Han Xiao hadn't intervened, he and Tang Yi would have had a fight. Tang Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao were also stunned. They didn't expect Han Xiao to suddenly make a move. Xiao died just like that. Tang Ye's gaze trembled slightly. He clenched his fists tightly, but in the end, he couldn't say a word. Perhaps this was already the best ending. Shouting, it's rude. Han Xiao looked at Tang Lang. Tang Lang thought of Xiao Yi's fate and immediately choked, not daring to complain. Han Xiao, you're too arrogant. Byron's expression turned cold when he saw that Han Xiao was arrogant enough to kill his men in front of him. Humph, it was just Xiao Yi. If he died, so be it. After Byron finished speaking, the corners of his mouth curled into a sinister smile. Han Xiao, you should know this person, right? A black-robed old man holding a dragon-headed cane walked out from the crowd at a steady pace. Han Wuing? Han Xiao stared at the black-robed old man with a slight frown. Han Wuing, the patriarch of the Han clan. Han Xiao, for the sake of a woman, you've betrayed the clan and betrayed your master. Today, this old man shall clean up the clan. Han Wuing's hoarse voice was filled with coldness. Because of a woman, he betrayed his master and killed his ancestors. Tang Lang and Ning, she were slightly surprised. They thought the Almighty didn't like women, while I was wondering why this kid from the Rothschild family was so calm when he saw me. It turns out that you're here to back him up. Han Xiao laughed in a low voice. Han Wuying, I advise you not to overestimate yourself. You should know that in this world, only Qin Wentian has the qualifications to fight against me. This wasn't arrogance, it was the truth. Even if the patriarch of the Han clan was here, he wouldn't be a match for Han Wuying. Han Wuying's expression sank, but he didn't refute. It was a pity that Qin Wentian was nowhere to be found. If he joined forces with Han Wuying, he would definitely be able to take down this vile spawn. Chapter 2137. Bastard, I just need to stall you until Byron finishes his business. Let's see what you'll do then. Han Wuying shouted, turned into a black shadow, and rushed toward Han Xiao. The two of them were engaged in a fierce battle. Kill them, Byron immediately ordered when he saw Han Xiao was stalled. The snipers hiding in the dark aimed their guns at Yin Shun, Lu Tingxiao, and the others. Do you really think this is your territory? Yin Shun said with a cold smile. Lu Tingxiao was expressionless as usual, and his eyes fell somewhere in the dark. In an instant, hundreds of people rushed out of the villa and confronted the Rothschild family's forces. Byron was not afraid at all. He said with confidence and arrogance, "It'll only take a few seconds for my snipers to kill all of you." Tang Lang and the others quickly searched in the dark, trying to find the hiding place of those snipers. However, the professional snipers of the Rothschild family couldn't be found easily. Those snipers were like a ticking time bomb. It's too late for you to regret now. Byron's smile disappeared. Do it. As soon as he said that, a sigh came from not far away. The child has grown up, and his wings have hardened. An old man with white hair walked towards the crowd. Seeing the old man, all the forces of the Rothschild family were stunned, including Byron. Ningxi was the most shocked. She looked at the old man and blurted out, "Grandpa Juz." "Xiaoxi, long time no see." Juz smiled gently and lovingly. "Father, why are you here?" Byron's expression changed again and again. "Father." Ningxi was stunned. Juz is Byron's father. Doesn't that mean Juz is the European emperor? Ningxi was stunned by this conclusion. She felt as if she had learned that the sweeping monk in the temple was a peerless master. "Byron, you disappoint me." Juz shook his head, and the unique dignity of a superior made Byron tremble involuntarily. Yin Shun and Lu Tingxiao looked at each other and understood the meaning of the European emperor's words. It seemed that Europe was not the one who wanted to annex Asia. "Father, listen to me. I'm doing this." Cold sweat trickled down Byron's forehead as he tried to explain. However, halfway through his words, he was interrupted by Juz. "Snipers hiding in the dark, come out," Juz said coldly. In the end, the air was completely silent. After a long while, a few people walked out with a rustling sound. Unexpectedly, there were only 3 people. Juz frowned. It was impossible for these people to disobey his orders. So what about the others? Juz pondered for a while and immediately understood. He looked at Lu Tingxiao and Yun Shun and sighed. The younger generation will surpass the older. His son's meticulous arrangements had long been seen through and more than half destroyed. Byron looked at the remaining 3 snipers and then at his father. He was completely confused at this moment. Damn it. His father had devoted himself to the movie industry and had long stopped caring about the family's affairs. How'd he find out about all this? "Father, if we annex Asia, our Rothschild family will become stronger," Byron said unwillingly. "Is this the reason why you went behind my back and disobeyed me?" Just shouted coldly. "Is the Rothschild family stronger, or you, Byron?" Chapter 2138. Do you really think I don't know what you've done behind my back all these years? Child, you're too ambitious. Jiz's eyes were cold. Father, Byron was sweating profusely as he tried to explain himself. Get lost. Jiz's terrifying aura completely engulfed Byron. No matter how powerful you are, the position of patriarch of the Rothschild family is not yours. Get lost. You're not allowed to step out of the family for the next 10 years. 10 years. Byron couldn't believe it. Take him away. If anything goes wrong, you'll be responsible for the consequences. Just said coldly as he looked at the group of people in the villa. Yes. An old man from Europe waved his hand and said, "Take third young master back and keep an eye on him." "Father, I can't accept this. I can't accept this. My ability is the strongest." "Why?" Byron's hysterical voice became more and more distant until it disappeared. "Our Rothschild family doesn't lack ability." Juz sighed softly as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. "Mr. Liu, I'm very sorry. I didn't teach my son well and caused you trouble." Juz stepped forward apologetically. Seeing that Byron had lost, Han Wuying immediately retreated. If he continued to fight with Han Xiao, he would lose for sure. Now that the European emperor had appeared and even Byron was imprisoned, Han Wuying was no match for Han Xiao. He had no chance of winning. Not fighting anymore? Han Xiao stared at Han Wuying. "Humph." Han Wuying snorted and left the villa in a flash. Running away when you can't win? How rude. Han Xiao was a little bored. Then, he looked at the European emperor. "Old fart, you've finally shown yourself." A sinister look appeared in Han Xiao's eyes, which had always been indifferent to everything. Mr. Han Xiao just looked at Han Xiao and said, "I'm very sorry about what happened back then. Although I've admired the ancient Han clan for a long time, and I admire your talent, and want you to marry my daughter, I've never forced you to do so. It was your family who killed Miss Qin Yuge to force you to marry my daughter. It had nothing to do with the Rothschild family. Besides, didn't you kill the murderer who killed Miss Qin Yuge?" Hearing that, Han Xiao was taken aback. "Old thing, you really know how to talk. That's the truth." Rosker didn't get angry. Instead, he calmly stated a fact. Ning Shi, Tang Lang, and the others finally learned of Han Zhao's identity through Han Xiao and Rochelle. The most monstrous genius of the ancient martial arts Han clan was greatly admired by the European emperor. Originally, he wanted Han Xiao to marry his youngest daughter, but in the end, he indirectly killed the girl called Qin Yuge. So, grandfather actually has such a past. Tang Lang had a surprised expression on his face. Good. At this moment, Ning Shi suddenly realized that the clothing brand was designed by Han Xiao. At first, Ning Shi didn't know what Ji meant. Now it was clear that the word Ji was the same as song, and Han Xiao was doing it to commemorate that girl whoosh. Right at this moment, a pitch-black figure suddenly appeared inside the manor. The figure approached Han Xiao like a bolt of lightning, and his palm blade, which was caught off guard, slashed toward Han Xiao. "Grandfather, be careful." Tang Lang couldn't help but cry out in alarm. The speed of that figure was simply too fast. At this moment, Han Xiao's expression turned cold. "I hate sneak attacks the most." After saying that, Han Xiao didn't even turn his head and grabbed the small palm that was attacking him. Bang! Han Xiao's figure moved, and the figure was directly thrown into the distance. "Annie!" Ning Shi cried out in alarm. Chapter 2139. Annie's body was unusually agile as she stabilized her body in mid-air and landed on the ground. She was actually able to receive Han Zhao's palm strike unscathed. Tang Yi, Tang Lang, and Feng Xiaoxiao were all shocked. Ning Shi was also shocked, but at the same time, she heaved a sigh of relief. If Han Xiao had accidentally killed someone again, she would have gone crazy. "Looks like I have to do it myself." Annie's gaze swept across the crowd, her cold face devoid of any emotion. She had originally wanted to use Byron and Xiao Yi's power to destroy the Lu family, but she had never expected to alarm the lucky emperor and ruin all her plans. "Grandfather, she was the one who poisoned Xiao Bao. You can get the antidote if you defeat her," Tang Lang hurriedly reminded. But this time, Han Xiao felt something was wrong. The moment Han Xiao turned around and saw Annie, his eyes, which seemed to be playing around with the world, suddenly burst open like a silver bottle, emitting a terrifying light. That exquisite and beautiful face was filled with shock and disbelief. Heir, grandfather knows Annie? Tang Lang was puzzled. Could there be a grudge? Feng Xiaoxiao murmured. Before they could react, Annie's expression changed when she saw Han Zhao's face. Looking at Han Zhao's expression, she wanted to skin him alive. Tang Lang suddenly came to a realization. There really is a grudge? Annie stared at Han Zhao's face, as though she had a deep hatred for him. She was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Why do you look so similar to Brother Xianxia? Who allowed you to use Brother Xianxia's face? Annie's brows were filled with a bone-chilling coldness, her eyes surging with a frightening, murderous intent. In the next second, Annie attacked Han Xiao with a fierce, murderous intent. Her fingers flashed with a cold light, and 5 unusually sharp hidden weapons appeared, wanting to tear off the human skin mask on Han Zhao's face. Han Xiao stood there motionlessly, as though he had been dumbfounded, as though his soul was in another world. Tang Lang watched from his side with his heart thumping. Grandfather, be careful. Fuck, what kind of deep hatred is this to want to ruin someone's face? Jealous of the Almighty's good looks? Ningxi also exclaimed, Almighty, just as the blade in Annie's hand was about to pierce Han Xiao. Han Zhao's figure disappeared like a ghost, and he didn't even manage to touch the corner of his clothes. However, very quickly, Annie attacked even more ferociously. Surprisingly, Han Xiao only defended and did not take the initiative to attack. Ningxi was confused. What's going on? The Almighty seemed to know Annie, but his expression didn't seem like he was looking at an enemy. Annie acted as if she didn't know the Almighty, but what did she mean when she said that the Almighty looked like her big brother Xianxia? Do Han Xiao and Yun Xianxia look alike? Yin Shan said, I left the Yun family when I was 10 years old. Since then, I've never seen anyone from the Yun family. I don't know what my cousin looks like when he grows up. However, the genes of the Yun family are not bad. I think he should look all right. Ningxi was speechless. Just okay? He looks so much like the Almighty. His looks are definitely off the charts. Okay? Noticing that the air pressure suddenly dropped a few degrees, Ningxi quickly added, Of course, no matter who he is not as handsome as my sweetheart. While Ningxi was speaking, the fight had already turned the world upside down. Strictly speaking, it was Annie who was fighting one-sidedly. Han Zhao's expression didn't change from beginning to end. He stared at the girl's face and let her attack crazily. Chapter 2140. The more Tang Lang looked, the more he felt something was amiss. Fuck, is it my imagination? Why do I feel that grandpa dotes on Annie so much? It's so sweet that my teeth hurt. Ningxi, Tang Lang pointed and said, Look, just now after Annie's move, her body almost couldn't stabilize. Grandpa quickly helped her up. Don't think that I didn't see it just because you were fast. Little Annie fell into Grandpa's arms. Grandpa deliberately took a step forward. He took the opportunity to hold her hand. Ningxi was speechless. Stop talking, we're not blind. They could almost see that Han Xiao treated Annie differently. From the beginning to the end, he was simply treating her like a willful lover. The two of them showed off their affection for each other for more than half an hour. Finally, Han Xiao abruptly restrained the furious little girl who was on the verge of collapse. He blocked her left hand with one hand and pressed on her right wrist with the other. It was unknown which acupuncture point he pressed, but in an instant, all the hidden weapons in Annie's hands fell to the ground. In the next second, Han Xiao held the girl's small hand and slowly placed it on his face. When Annie's fingers came into contact with the man's warm skin, the crazed expression on her face suddenly froze, turning into astonishment. No, it's not a human skin mask. This face is actually real? How can this be? Why does this person look so similar to Brother Xianxia? At least 70% to 80%, but the temperament is completely different. A trace of confusion appeared on Annie's face. Then her eyes instantly turned cold. No one is qualified to wear the same face as Brother Xianxia. Han Xiao still didn't say a word, only quietly looked at the girl in front of him. In the next second, Under the girl's angry gaze, he forcefully pulled the girl into his arms. Tang Lang, wow, Grandpa is amazing. Feng Xiao. Why do I feel that Almighty and little cutie Annie are quite a good match? Ning Shi, Almighty, I asked you to help me get the antidote. Why did you run off to pick up girls? Suddenly being hugged, Annie's expression changed. How dare you? In the next second, she suddenly heard the man's suppressed voice. Silent Song, Silent Song. The moment she heard this name, Annie's face suddenly went blank. Her expression was dazed for a second. Why? Why is this name so familiar? Why was it that when she clearly wanted to push this man away, she couldn't control her body at all, as if she was extremely familiar with this embrace? Was it because this man looked too much like Brother Xianxia? However, she could clearly tell the difference between the two of them. At this moment, she was not only familiar with this face, but also everything about this man. She knew that she should push him away and kill him, but this embrace was like a spell that controlled her consciousness. She couldn't resist at all. Hearing Han Zhao's quiet song, Ning Shi, Tang Lang, and the others were all stunned. Damn, what did Grandpa just call Annie? Serenity's song? Ning Shi nodded. I think so. Tang Lang was dumbfounded. Isn't you good dead? Ning Shi, I don't know either. Fuck. If Annie is Serenity's song, then wouldn't I have to call her Grandma? Ning Shi, can't you focus on the wrong things every time? Chapter 21:41. Han Xiao hugged the girl tightly as if he was hugging his entire life. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I couldn't find you. Annie's face was expressionless, but her tears were completely uncontrollable. She didn't even know why she was crying, but when she heard the man's voice, the tears fell as if they had their own consciousness. Come with me. I'll help you remember everything. Han Xiao grabbed the girl's hand and quickly turned to leave. Ning Shi immediately broke down. Great God. Wait. Antidote. Antidote. Han Xiao stopped in his tracks and looked at the lifeless girl who was being held by him mechanically. Yugo, where's the antidote? Annie stared blankly into the man's eyes, as if she was under a spell, and took out a small medicine pouch from her body. Han Xiao took the small medicine pouch and casually threw it to Ning Shi behind him, then carried the exhausted Annie by the waist and quickly disappeared into the depths of the forest. Behind him, everyone was dumbfounded. Ning Shi looked at the antidote in her hand and muttered, My great God is amazing. You actually used a honey trap to get the antidote. What's the relationship between Annie and the great God? Feng Xiaoxiao's eyes flashed with the light of gossip. That young lady seems to be Mr. Han's beloved Miss Yuge, but Miss Yuge seems to have lost her memory. At this time, O Huang spoke up. Lost her memory. Ning Shi pondered and tentatively guessed, could it be that Yuge didn't die and was accidentally saved by the Yun family, but lost her memory? The Yun family took a fancy to Annie's ability and adopted her. Because Yun Xing's appearance was too similar to Han Zhao's, the amnesiac quiet song had a natural sense of intimacy towards him, so she attached great importance to him. His death was a huge blow to her, which led to a series of extreme acts of revenge. No wonder Annie was so obedient just now. Is it because Han Xiao is her true lover? Tang Lang suddenly had an expression of realization. Feng Xiaoxiao murmured, I wonder what will happen to Annie and the great God. Ning Shi held the antidote tightly in her hand and looked in the direction of the two leaving. I hope Annie can recover her memory. I believe that the great God will definitely have a way. After Ning Shi finished speaking, she turned to the European emperor on the side and thanked him. Grandpa Juz, thank you for helping us in time today. If Juz hadn't appeared in time, even if most of the snipers had been eliminated, a bloody battle would have been inevitable. I've caused you trouble. Juz sighed. But I really didn't expect you to be. The producer she worked with, a kind old grandpa, suddenly became the legendary king of the underground in Europe. Ning Shi felt that it was too magical. Just smiled. I'm just a producer who likes to make movies. As Juz said this, he took a deep look at Ning Shi and then sighed. CC, You really look like Caroline. Back then, Caroline ignored my objections and insisted on acting. Just like you, she started out as a stunt double. She was very serious and worked very hard. She said that acting was her passion and her life. You're right. You're right. She wanted to get my approval. Unfortunately, when I finally understood her, she had an accident during a shooting. When I saw you, it was like seeing her. I have many sons, but only 2 daughters. My youngest daughter, Caroline, ran away from home because I wanted to marry her off to Mr. Han. Until now, she is still unwilling to call me father. In the end, Caroline also died because of my stubbornness. She was too desperate for me to acknowledge her, so she worked so hard, which led to the accident. I made a mistake. The youngest daughter that the European emperor was going to marry Han Xiao was Caroline, not Caroline. They are not the same person. Also, Ningxi's background is not so complicated and has nothing to do with the European emperor. She is a member of the Zhuang family. I find that we are almost detectives. Ha! At this point, all the puzzles have been solved, and the rest is a relatively easy plot. Chapter 2142. Hearing the old man talking about the past and looking at his remorseful expression, Ningxi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. At this moment, the old man in front of her was not the famous king of the underground world, but just an ordinary father. No wonder he was so kind to her when they first met. It turned out that he saw the shadow of his daughter in her. Although Miss Caroline has passed away, she left the most beautiful scene to future generations. She worked hard not only for you, but also for her own dream. I believe she never blamed you. Ningxi said, "Do you really think so?" Zhe's eyes flickered. Ningxi nodded. "If it were me, thank you." Zhe heaved a long sigh as if he could finally let go of something. Then he looked at Ningxi and said, "I'm going back to Europe tomorrow. Xiaoxi, if you come to Europe, be sure to contact me and let me be your host." "I will." As Zhe left, all the people on the king's side retreated, and so did Lu Tingxiao and Yunshin's people. The huge sky spring villa returned to its former tranquility. The scenery was beautiful and the flowers were fragrant. It was as if nothing had happened. And the only person who died in this battle was Xiao Yining. She looked at Xiao Yi, who was lying on the ground and killed by Han Xiao, with mixed feelings. Step by step, Tang Yi walked toward Xiao Yi, took off his coat, and covered Xiao Yi's body with it. Then he carried his body away. A teacher for a day, a father for a lifetime. Even though Xiao Yi had done that, Tang Yi couldn't bear to see his body lying in the wilderness. Tang Lang looked at Tang Ye's figure and said nothing. TSK, boring. Having failed to fight, Cloudy Depths yawned lazily. The deputy who came with him hurried forward to ask, "President Yin, what should we do now? The whole group has been hit hard, and everyone is waiting for your reply." Yinshin glanced at him and said lightly, "Oh, then don't do it." Don't do it?" The deputy looked confused. Yinshin looked at him with a smile. "From now on, you are the boss." "Ah, I am the boss." The deputy looked confused. "What about you, President Yin?" The white-haired man looked at the distant horizon. "Go be a pirate." What? The assistant was dumbfounded. Hearing Yunshin's words, she frowned slightly. Yinshin naturally noticed her expression and said with a faint smile, "What's up? Do you think I'm going to go back to my old ways and annihilate the Liu family?" "Heh, don't worry, I'm not interested. This guy." Yinshin looked at Lu Tingxiao with disdain. "It's too boring." With this girl around, the battle between them was destined not to happen. Ningxi looked at the person in front of her seriously. "Thank you." Cloudy's casual expression suddenly became a little unnatural. "Idiot, I have nothing for you to thank me for." With that, he turned around and left. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly followed behind, waving goodbye to Ningxi. "Little junior sister, I'm leaving now. Remember to inform me when the wedding is held." A certain someone who was walking briskly in front of her immediately turned around and glared at Feng Xiaoxiao with gritted teeth. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at him innocently. "Huh, did I say something wrong?" Tang Lang shook his head and clicked his tongue. You're hurting me, third junior sister. That's impossible. Actually, I was prepared to write the ending after the war, but I had a premonition that I would be beaten to death. So, there's still the movie killer, the announcement of our relationship, the wedding, the sweet marriage, and so on. The almighty and dark song will also appear again. Chapter 2143. After returning, Ningxi immediately fed Xiao Bao the antidote. Xiao Bao's body recovered. Ningxi tried to contact Han, Xiao, and Annie a few times, but she did not receive any news from them. As for the outside world, Lu Group stood firm in the storm. Foreign investors withdrew from the Chinese market, and the economic crisis gradually dissipated. Not long after, to the surprise of the entire business world, the powerful Cloud Mist Ventures chose to retreat at this time and completely withdrew from the Chinese market. Half a year later, a large-scale transnational drug smuggling case was about to start. What caught people's attention was that one of the criminals was the once popular actress in the entertainment industry, Ning Xiaoluo. It was unbelievable. In a prison in the suburbs of Beijing, Ning Xiaoluo sneered at the person who came. Suyin, don't even think about it. I will never divorce you. Suyin looked at the woman who was full of hostility. There was no trace of her former gentleness. I'm not here to talk about a divorce. Then what do you want to say? We're husband and wife. I'm here to see you for the last time. Ning Xiaoluo frowned. What do you mean? Suyin did not speak. Ning Xiaoluo seemed to have thought of something, and her expression suddenly changed. Could it be that That's impossible. At most, I only have the crime of drug possession, plus those illegal activities outside of the country. I only threatened a few people and attempted murder. Even if I am sentenced to 20 or 30 years, I will definitely be released one day. Su Yan's voice was emotionless. It's not drug possession, it's illegal drug possession. Ning Xiaoluo's face instantly turned pale. She said agitatedly, illegal drug possession. What illegal drug possession? I'm just helping someone hide drugs. Those drugs are not mine at all. You're slandering me. Ning Xiaoluo finally panicked. If it was illegal drug possession with the amount of drugs, she would be sentenced to death. No wonder Su Yin said that he was not here to talk about a divorce. Once she died, their marriage would naturally be dissolved. She could not figure it out. She couldn't figure out how the police had the evidence of her hiding drugs, and how they knew all of her activities like the back of their hand with sufficient evidence. She knew that those people must have betrayed her, but she could not figure out why. Even if those people were abroad and their whereabouts were uncertain, even if they were exposed, the domestic police couldn't do anything to them. But what good would it do for them to give this evidence to the Chinese police? Could it be Ningxi again? Did Ningxi bribe them again? After Su Yin left, Ning Xiaoluo insisted on seeing her lawyer. Will I be sentenced to 10 years or 20 years? How confident are you? Ning Xiaoluo asked eagerly. The lawyer's expression flickered. Ning Xiaoluo's blood turned cold when she saw the lawyer's expression. What's going on? Tell me the truth. She still had evidence of the Su family's bribery. Why did Su Yin sound so fearless just now? The lawyer hesitated for a moment, then said, Mrs. Su, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. The Su family has connections in the government. I'm afraid I can't do anything about your case. You should prepare for the worst. There's someone up there. How can there be someone up there in the Su family? The lawyer coughed lightly. Don't you know? I thought Mr. Su had already told you. Mr. Su is going to marry the eldest daughter of S City's Liang family next month. Chapter 2144. What did you say? No wonder. No wonder the Su family was in such a hurry to kill her. They were going to make room for the new wife. Ning Xiaoluo's face darkened. I want to report him. I want to report Su Hongguang for bribery. I won't let them get away with it, even if I die. The lawyer sighed with pity. Miss Ning, forget it. Have you forgotten the Liang family's background? It's useless. With the relationship between the Su family and the Liang family, you'll be stopped halfway. Ning Xiaoluo's face turned pale, and she fell onto the cold iron chair. Impossible. How could this be? Su Yan. Su Yan, how could you do this to me? A few days later, the central square of the capital was crowded with people and cars on both sides. All the passers-by couldn't help but stop and look at the big screen above their heads. Intense fighting and gunfights, dazzling special effects, the reappearance of the classic plot, and the familiar faces of the Hua people. After the trailer ended, a banner appeared on the big screen. First day of the Lunar New Year, the killer, the king returns. Stay tuned. Ah, it's brother, she's the killer. I've been waiting for half a year, and it's finally going to be released. But it's much faster than I expected. I thought it would be the same as Agents of the Thunderbolts, which would take at least a year or two. The crew is rich, and the special effects team they hired is super awesome. Of course they're efficient. My big brother, she is so handsome. By the way, who's the ice beauty fighting alongside brother she? She's so beautiful. Well, if I'm not wrong, that's probably my brother Mai. Oh my god. Jiang Mai? Is this for real? That's Jiang Mai in drag. He's so beautiful. Do you still want us women to live? Ning, she had just finished dinner with the crew of the killer. When she went to the hotel parking lot to get her car, she saw a man. Xiao Shi. Ning Yaohua stood in front of her car nervously, as if he had been waiting for her. Ning, she paused. Chairman Ning, what's up? Ning Yaohua coughed. It's New Year next month. Ning, she didn't know what he wanted to say and just stood there quietly. Ning Yaohua couldn't ask Ning if she wanted to go home for the Spring Festival. Xianxia, I've always wanted to talk to you, but you know, the Ning family has been in a bad situation for the past 6 months. The company suffered a great loss at that time, and your mother became more and more absent-minded. I really can't get away from you, Ning Yaohua rambled on. In fact, after saying so much, the ultimate reason was that he didn't know how to face his daughter. Ning Yaohua took a deep breath and said, Your mother and I already know the truth about what happened back then. We know that it wasn't your fault. It was Shui Luo who framed you. Ning Yaohua looked a little embarrassed. I know it's too late to say anything now, but I'm sorry, Cici, I didn't believe you. Shui Luo's judgment has already been passed down, and she has already received the punishment she deserves. Ning, she knew something about Ning Xiuo. She had just received the news that Ning Xiuo had been sentenced to death. There was no prohibition of drugs abroad, but it was very strict in China. The amount of drugs Ning Xiuo was suspected of was so large that she could be sentenced to death. You're tuning into the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.